Don't look away, Captain. All life is transitory. A dream. We all come together in the same place at the end of time. If I don't see you again here, I will see you in a little while. In the place where no shadows fall.
Delenn? When I do see you again, call me John.
I'm ready, baby girl.
We back, y'all. We back. It has been 87 years since we last podcasted. It felt like that. We actually recorded an episode of Strange and Beautiful Book Club this morning, and I was like, where's my SD card? How do I put my headphones on? Where do I sit? And in the meantime, we have a plumbing vent that goes through where we do the podcast, and it is like a really old cast iron pipe, and it is no longer structurally intact, and we have a septic, which means we had actual sewer gas coming into the pod lab.
Were you smelling it while we were recording?
No.
Okay.
What I'm just saying is it's been a minute, so you actually took some of the stuff off of the walls, so the pod lab feels bigger.
Yeah.
Than it did. But so I even came into like a newish room. It's a very strange feeling. But we're back. We're back. And it's time to talk about Babylon 5. And let me tell you, this was exactly the episode I wanted to come back in 2026.
Back to you talking about the pod lab modifications.
Yeah.
We had 2-inch foam up against the wall. And then it was bumped out because that wall had a window. 4 inches can be a lot, honey.
It's big, okay? 4 inches is perfectly fine. Of course it seemed big. It is big. That's my favorite joke. When you get a man like, oh no, that's fine. What do you mean? When women are like, oh, I had a 4-inch sub, it just wasn't big enough. And they're like, 4 inches is a perfectly fine sub.
or they'll hold up their fingers. It'll be a guy saying like, oh yeah, I asked my wife how big something was. And she said, I don't know, like 7 inches. And she holds up her fingers like 3 inches apart.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's, that's how big you think 7 inches is?
Anyway, this was exactly the episode I wanted to come back to in the year of our Lord 2026. When we're already through the 7-day trial and we can't return it.
Yep.
I would like a refund, please.
God damn it.
I like that. I don't want a new year this year. I wouldn't mind a gently used year, say 2014 or maybe 1996. Yes, I will also take those back, please. Anyway, we're going to talk about Babylon 5, Season 2, Episode 18, Confessions and Lamentations.
Lamentations.
Now, we know that this episode is written by JMS because that's going to be true for pretty much the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And we know he writes, does he write the episode and then the title, or he writes the title and then the episode?
He said title and then episode.
So he writes down Confessions and Lamentations, and then he thinks,
Plague.
Do you get plague from Confessions and Lamentations?
I think Lamentations are part of a plague.
It's also a book in the Bible. Lamentations, yeah. Anyway, this originally aired the 25th of May, 1995. So not in the height of the AIDS crisis, one might say, if one were to put a word on it. Even though, we'll get to it, his discussion about whether or not it's related to the AIDS crisis. It just reminded me of my Forever Night. And in the 3rd season of Forever Night, there is an AIDS episode.
Yeah.
And they are not shy at all. They are it is literally the AIDS episode. Like there's somebody developing an AIDS vaccine, and it turns out to be a super plague for vampires.
That vaccine ends up being a plague for vampires. Yeah.
Right. And so they're all dying, but they're dying in silence because they can't even tell anybody what they have because of the stigma.
Because nobody can know what they are.
Right. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not what this is. And I want to know. Did he honestly believe this wasn't going to be correlated with the AIDS epidemic?
Especially when Dr. Franklin mentions AIDS.
Yeah. Dr. Franklin's like, this is just like AIDS. And yet he went on multiple times in the old forum posts about how this is not about AIDS. I can't believe you guys are all talking about AIDS. What would make you think this is about AIDS? I can't believe you're equating with this with AIDS. I literally never said that. And this is so obviously an AIDS commentary episode. And so I want to know, was it? Like in his little secret heart, was he like, oh yeah? Or was he literally just unknowingly influenced by what was happening in the world?
That makes more sense.
You think so?
That he was picking up the vibes
of
what was going on, and he wasn't consciously aware of the influence of current events on his writing.
Maybe. We can't say because he didn't say. I mean, he literally said, no, it's not related to the AIDS AIDS epidemic. But in
he
1995...
said, I will not defend the notion that the episode stated that all Americans felt that AIDS was a penalty from God, because I never said that.
He goes on. There's other quotes that I didn't put in here where he was like, no, it's not about AIDS. It's just about the effect of a plague on the population. And in a very non-specific way.
But it's backed up by the cultural stigma of being unable to talk about that disease.
Yes, right. He hits the nail on the head a little hard for someone who wasn't aiming for the nail, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we'll move on because there's going to be a lot of chances to talk about that. I also have a Stanley Cup. I don't own a Stanley Cup, but an approximate 40-ounce gin and tonic on my lap. So we are going to race the gin to see whether or not we can make it to the AIDS discussion and who wins.
Before Rachel gets incoherent.
Yes, I drink gin and tonics. They are my favorite drink in the whole universe.
I agree, they're tasty.
And the only other person who regularly enjoys having a gin and tonic with me is Matt's grandfather. And so we sit and drink gin and tonics together. And I've never felt more connected to the older generation. Anyway, this was written by JMS. It's directed by Kevin G. Cremin, who also directed A Spider in the Web. Which is another episode of Babylon 5. He only has 7 director's credits, but he has been a producer, a production manager, and assistant director, including being an assistant director on the first Star Trek movie. It also known as 2001, a Star Trek movie. You know the first Can you turn off the heater? You know the first Star Trek movie is entirely different, stylistically, from Star Trek the television series and every other Star Trek movie thereafter.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one with V'ger.
Yep.
Where they find the giant cloud, and it's actually Voyager 7, I think, that we sent off into space. It's not Voyager 1 or Voyager 2. It's another one. Like, in the Star Trek world, we continued the Voyager program up to, like, 7.
They were so optimistic.
They were very optimistic. And it was found by a race, and they were like, oh, what's that little guy? You're supposed to learn and return with information to your people? Well, we can do that for you.
I'll make you a god.
And then it turns it into a giant cloud of death, which has to come back to the planet. Anyway.
It accumulates the cloud of death on its journey back.
I'm not going to lie. It's like the most boring. It's like watching paint dry. It is so hard to watch. And I feel bad for the girl that was in it, the bald lady who's like psychically connected to the machines for some reason. Anyway, she's like in nothing else. And I think she passed away young. It's like really sad. Someday we'll do Star Trek Maybe.
Put it on the roadmap.
Maybe we'll do the movies. We could do the movies.
Yes.
I feel like that's doable. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting that he also worked on Star Trek. Jim Norton is the guy who plays Dr. Lazarin or Lazarin, not Dr. Lazarus. Definitely not that. Dr. Lazarin. He previously played Ombuds Wellington
Aww.
from The Grail and Quality of Mercy. Remember the Ombuds
Yep.
who got kidnapped and maybe almost mind wiped by not. Anyway. And
And who sentenced the guy that used the special machine that is now locked in a cabinet
Yeah. And
that
Dr.
Franklin
Franklin
needs to ask the key for?
Yeah. Could he have used that to save Dr. Lazarin for a little bit longer?
Ooh. Maybe.
Maybe. So he could have helped him, but then he would have helped him cure the plague only for everyone to be dead. So it maybe was a mercy. He didn't.
Would Lazarine want to be one of the last 100 Marcab?
I don't know. That's a big question. My question was, is this actually Ombuds Wellington? And he bought that mask as a he bought that mask
He's
at
been
the
in
gift shop.
disguise.
Because remember at the gift shop they had the alien masks that were very believable.
Yep.
Anyway, he's Irish. We talked about him before when he was Ombuds Wellington, but I just have a couple new things. He's Irish and he's got the most British of all British. He's been in every British mystery.
Okay.
And a lot of them. He has a lot of credits, but he was Death in the podcast series of Good Omens. Death.
Nice.
Yeah, Death, the character of Death, who is in it. Diane Adair plays the Marcab mother. I think there's a lot of extra characters, side characters in this because there were a ton of Marcab in it.
Right.
Well, I didn't include everybody. I didn't include the people that we've seen before who are part of the stable.
Hold on. This girl's name is Blue Jean.
Yeah, that's why she's in. Wait. Don't rush me. I'm not there. Anyway, she was also Mila Shar in the War Prayer. The Mila Shar was the fish ambassador.
Okay. Yeah.
And she was in an episode of Harry and the Hendersons.
Wait, there was a TV show?
Apparently. I feel like we need a podcast about TV shows that were based on movies that I had no idea had a TV show based on them. Apparently, there is a wealth of content available there. She was also in an episode of Night Court, which somebody mentioned on our YouTube that we might actually like Night Court. So it might be fun to watch and see what it's about.
Yeah.
So put a pin in that. Andrew Craig, who played Human, which I think is the guy beating up the Marcab, because otherwise there's not a
distinctive human character.
Human, non-specific. He played Midwestern Dad in Leprechaun 2.
I'm getting close. I could play Midwestern Dad pretty soon.
I'm so close to Midwestern Dad. He also played a guy named Bryce Porterhouse Guard in Naked Gun 33 and a half.
33 and a third.
Oh, 30. Well, it changed it. It was 33 and a third, and it changed it to a half.
Bruh.
I know. He was also Fred in The Toxic Avenger, which was his first credit.
Okay.
I think he's in it for 5 seconds, but I just wanted to cover that. Yes, the Marcab girl, the little child who's like, Mama, where's my mama? To prove the situation is serious little girl.
Yeah.
Her name is Blue Jean. All one word. Blue Jean. Ashley Seacrest. And on IMDb, it was she now goes by Ashley. And I was like, yeah, because her first name is Blue Jean. Is that her stage name? I want to know. Were they you could pick a stage name because she was a child actor.
Yeah.
So they were like, you could pick a stage name. Do you want to? And she was like, yeah, I want to be Blue Jean. I hope that's what that is because that's adorable.
I could see one of my children doing that.
I told you about the time I named my brother Sewage Lagoon. I was playing baby with my brother, which is probably the only time he's ever played with me. And they asked me what was my baby's name, and I said Sewage Lagoon. And I feel like
it fits.
It's pretty spot on. Anyway, then she was also in the Amanda Show and one Mary-Kate and Ashley thing, and then nothing. Which the Amanda Show
I remember the Amanda Show.
It's notoriously part of all the Nickelodeon stuff that happened.
Oh.
And she went through a lot, which is why she's kind of struggling. Was struggling, is intermittently struggling because
A lot of stuff went
child
down.
actors from our childhood went through some serious shit, is all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Dan Warren, who's the guy who plays the bartender at the very end, the one that makes the very off-color joke about the fact that the Marcaps all died,
Yeah.
he has 277 credits on IMDb, and almost
Wow.
exclusively they are anime dubs.
Interesting.
He has done so many anime and JRPG things. And he's not always a main character. Sometimes he's like additional voices. So probably
Right.
like the guy muttering in the background or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, 277 credits, including one episode of Airwolf, which notoriously I almost died watching Airwolf. So I wanted to put that in there. There wasn't any good trivia. There was a couple of goofs, like you can see the back of some Markeb's mask falling off,
Mhm.
or there's something that happens when Delenn touches the girl's face, and then when they zoom in, her hand's not there anymore, or something. It was very like, okay, whatever. But there was a lot happening on the forum for this one, and most of it was JMS yelling at people. No, it's not about AIDS. Yeah, like you said,
Or
he goes,
not just about AIDS.
he goes, I will not defend the notion that the episode stated that all Americans felt that AIDS was a penalty from God, because it never said that ever. In any way, shape, or form. The problem is that some people are so caught up in the current situation that they lose all sense of perspective. Fact is, most people did think that the Black Death was a punishment from God or the work of the devil, as Franklin says, and the Marcaps had a similar belief. He's like, I was just drawing parallels. I wasn't saying that that's what all Americans think, even though a lot of Americans did think it was like that.
A lot of them did.
I mean, you want to be real depressed? Read the history of the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah.
People deliberately not being diagnosed with AIDS because then the doctor would have to treat them. Being walked out of emergency rooms and having to have sit-ins just to get looked at because it was a gay disease.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to look at it. Nobody wanted to do anything about it because it was their own fault for being gay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a thing that is worth reading up on. The Marcaps had a similar belief, which is what he says, and nowhere was that applied to the dialogue
The whole
for the AIDS situation.
The whole punishment from God thing was in response to Lazarine asking about Black Plague.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, yeah.
Well,
they thought it
Lazarin
was-
says the problem with it is that people believed that the only reason they got it on this island is because they were immoral.
Right.
And so they equate this disease with being immoral. And so
Right.
that's been the major problem, is because nobody wants to be associated with it. And then they've just been pretending it doesn't exist. So we've had a year to look into this, and we really haven't, because
Nobody will talk
nobody
about
will
it.
give us the resources.
If we don't
because,
test it, the rates will be lower.
right. Because we both define and meet our own standards. So we meet them 100% of the time.
Because the standards are 0.
Right. Well, if I get to say what safety is, and I also meet my qualifications for safety, then I always meet them.
Yep.
The whole point of this episode, he says, is not political. It says if you make a disease political on either side, you're
I
gonna
would say
die.
this topic is extremely political.
Yes, that's why my feeling is he doth protest too much.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
It's extremely political to say if you make the disease political,
Everyone's going to die.
that is species dangerous thinking.
Yeah, he says the only side this episode took was in advocating compassion for those afflicted.
Yeah.
I think he's not actually saying it's not about AIDS. He's saying I'm not taking a political stance on AIDS, except that we need to have compassion. We need to not politicize it, and we need to actually address the issue. I think that's ultimately the underlying what he's saying. He does go on to say, on one level, this does indicate that we really are crazy over here on Babylon 5 because we developed this race for nearly 2 years, developed their culture, mentioned them prominently just last episode. Because I think
Had
last
them
episode,
speak in full before the full council, spent substantial amounts of money making them the biggest single alien group we have, Some of the group shots had 40 or 50 more Markabs, all in full prosthetics and full costume, and now never to be seen again. It could not be a race we've never seen before, not if it was to have the impact I wanted. It had to be a group that had been with us from the start. In council scenes, for the balance of the season, the Markab seat remains empty. Aw.
I know. That's really, it's a lot, man. And he does do the Franklin's use of stims here in here and in Zahadum. They could be disastrous, like for Dr. Rosen, because remember Dr. Rosen in Quality of Mercy lost her job because she was on stims and she made mistakes. And he goes, I was wondering when someone would get around to noticing that. And then my favorite, he's sassy. He was sassy as fuck in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not Franklin. JMS.
I
did not. There is a lot more. If you want to read all of them, you need to go on to the Lurker's Guide and read them because he was being a little sassy pants to literally. He must have been like fed up because he got mad at one point because in the episode they talk about how like the biology for the Markabs are different. And apparently somebody complained about that. And he was like, you guys get mad at me because my aliens aren't alien enough. And then when I include an alien that is actually alien enough, you're mad at me because they're too alien. So I need you guys to fucking pick what you're going to be mad at me about. He goes, sometimes it feels like you can't win. Which is proof that anytime you interact with people on the internet from 1995 until now, assholes will show up.
Yes.
He goes, somebody must have mentioned that plague stories are trendy right now. And he goes, oh, yeah, next time I'll try and locate every other producer in town and see what they plan to produce so I can plan accordingly.
I liked the line about, if I had known there would be such a glut, well, I probably would have done so anyway, because this isn't so much about the plague and saying it's dangerous, but about our attitudes when we are confronted by this, which really hasn't been dealt with that much in sci-fi fantasy.
And I'm sorry, but don't even try to bring the Voyager story into this. The ship is threatened by a cheese contamination. I almost fell off my chair. And then he addressed somebody by name, which I fucking love because this guy is immortalized only in the response. We do not know what Tom said, but Tom got addressed directly. He goes, Tom, we do have a medical biological advisor whose primary comment on the notion of a virus on the notion that a virus couldn't pass between one species and another is, we have yet to contact another life form to make an analysis. We do not know for a fact that their biology will be radically different than our own. Until we actually make contact, it's as likely as not. He goes, a biologist works from what's known. Unless you've got a specimen of alien life somewhere and aren't showing it to anyone, or you're simply making a guess, which is neither more or less correct until we have something testable in our hands. So fuck off, Tom! Tom must have been like, well, actually, I don't think that.
I like how you tilted your nose up.
I have to push, even though no one can see it. This is a verbal medium, and yet here I am acting it out fully. So, actually, there's no way that someone who has a disease could spread it to another species. That's just not how it works. You know, that's exactly how he sounded, too. In type. Yeah. Like, he typed it, and when you read it, your nose lifted, and your nasal passages constricted, and you just did it. Like that. Anyway, fuck you, Tom.
Basement living mouth breather.
Fuck you, Tom. Tom probably listens to this. I'm sorry, Tom. Sorry in advance. You are immortalized, however, because your name was copied along with his response. I love it because I don't know what question he's responding to because those were not copied. So I don't know what Tom said. I would never have known it was Tom if he had not if JMS had literally not been like, Tom, look me in the eye. I pay people to tell me this
slowly.
Stuff. I pay people to look at this shit. Fuck off, okay?
I'll type slowly so it's easier for you to understand.
I'll type slowly. Do try to read it slowly, too. So that's pretty much all that I copied. There was a lot more. He reiterates, like Dr. Franklin says in the episode, that 3/4 of the population was killed by the Black Plague. And then there's an editor's note. And it's like, that's not actually the correct figure. That's not how many people died. I mean, there were some areas where that many people died.
Yeah.
And it was devastating. But if you look at the population on the whole, about a quarter of the population died. So, yeah, we're just going to put a pin in that. And then it just continues what he was saying, which I really love. My favorite story about the Black Plague is there was that village that self-isolated.
Mhm.
Have you ever heard about that? I forget what the name of the
Yes.
village was, but they realized they had it. And
Yeah.
so they quarantined themselves and they literally put a stone like a mile outside on each road.
Yeah.
And they carved a little hole in it and filled it with vinegar. And they would leave goods and then put the coins in vinegar
Oh, to sanitize?
to sanitize them. And then when people came to collect their money, or they would leave goods for the village,
Yeah.
and the village would leave the money in the vinegar. So then the people that came could take the money out of the vinegar to pay themselves for the supplies they left.
Mm.
And the stones are still there with the like holes in them, which I think is
Nice.
really cool. And I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you one other story. And I'm not going to tie this into anything that's happening in this episode, but I just want to tell the story. Back in the year of our Lord 2020, there was a plague, one might say, that
That
happened.
crossed species boundaries?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it happened. And we happen to live in a very rural area in North Carolina. And those not familiar with the U.S., there is an area of the U.S. that is highly associated with being extremely religious. It's called the Bible Belt. And we lived in the Bible Belt. And there's probably more churches there than there are actually people who can attend the
Well,
churches.
there are more churches than Chinese restaurants.
It's
And if
rampant.
you know about the density of Chinese restaurants in America's in America,
yeah.
that's saying something.
That's something. It's something. So anyway, we happen to live in an incredibly religious area. And there was a man during 2020, a prominent figure in the community, who decided that the plague was not real. And he didn't need to be afraid of it. So he went on vacation to Florida with his family.
Yeah.
And he contracted COVID. And he had COVID so bad, he was in a medically induced coma for 3 months. And when he came back from his medically induced coma, did he then state, "Oh, guys, it's real.
serious.
It's serious. I got it"? No. No. He believed he had been saved by God because he was such a devout Christian. God had cured him. And that the reason that other people were dying of COVID is because they did not have the same amount of faith that he did. And God had chosen to let them die. And he had chosen this man to bring back to life. And so every year on the anniversary of his resurrection, he has a big party. And he invites everybody in the community to come participate in his party.
His resurrection party.
Mm-hmm. The day that God chose to save him because he was the most moral man. And that's a real story. And if you had been to the county that we lived in North Carolina, you would be like, yeah, no notes, no
Tracks.
questions,
Yeah.
tracks. So I'm going to put that on the table. I'm not going to come back to it, but I just want to point out that that is a thing that happened.
So
And if you think it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, that this
maybe
guy,
some of the portrayals of characters in this episode are not completely fabricated.
I mean, I think he didn't go hard enough, is what I'm saying. I think he could have gone harder. So anyway, it's time to start the episode. Are you ready? We open on something incredibly innocuous, something very
Standard.
standard, I guess. It's just
We're in
Ivanova.
CNC, Ivanova and Sheridan.
Yeah. And Ivanova's like, hey, we got a Marcab transport that's like 10 hours overdue. And I tried calling her, but she's not calling me back. And I'd like to send a flight of Star Furies out there if you think that if we should. Like, can we do that? And Ivanova's like, I mean, yeah, I want to be sure. Actually, Sheridan says, I think we should send some Star Furies out there. And she's like, yeah, let's do that. I'll send out Zeta Squadron when Lieutenant Keffer gets back. And Sheridan's like, wait a minute. I thought they were on break. Are they not on break? And she's like, oh, yeah, they are. But Keffer thought he saw something in hyperspace. And,
That one episode?
like forever ago. Wasn't it Gropos? The one where he had to go out on a chain.
Yeah, it wasn't Gropos. It was the one where his old drinking buddy showed up.
That one. And he's like, he's just been spending his free time out there looking for it. And he's like, tell Keffer to come back to base.
And quit that shit.
Yeah, cut that shit out immediately. No, you know what? Actually, no more freelance expeditions at all. I want his fighter recharged and ready to go within the hour. And she's like, yeah, okay, no problem. Yes, sir. And in fact, one of the things he spent a lot of time defending on the forum posts was the fact that Keffer was allowed to use the Star Fury outside of prescribed missions.
That's probably keeping up his flight hours.
That's exactly what he said. He said they actually spend as much time in Star Furies as possible because they get paid extra when they're out on a flight. So the more time you're actually in the Star Fury, the more pay you get. And really, once they're out, there's nothing about coming back. I mean, there's nothing about being out that makes more work when you come back. So once you're out, staying out is no problem. The hardest part is getting out and getting back in.
Okay.
So like if he was already out on a mission, he could just say, hey, I'm going to spend some more time out and about and I'll be back later. And that doesn't add anything to anybody.
Right.
Which is what he said. He was like, it's fine. It's totally fine. My only quibble here would be he's using company property effectively to be out on this flight.
But I would say it's like getting a company vehicle.
Yeah.
You drive it around, but you don't own it. You don't pay for the insurance on it. The company pays all that.
Yeah.
The company absorbs the cost of the wear and tear and maintenance and stuff. It's purely to make sure that you have a vehicle. But there's a
prescribed use for it. Like you can take it back and forth to work, but you can't take it grocery shopping or whatever.
Yeah.
Depending on the type of vehicle that you have.
Yeah.
Or like we have a friend who has a company truck and it has a plow. And technically speaking, he's not supposed to use the plow for personal reasons. It's just attached to the front of his truck. Whoopsie doodle. I kind of put it down while I was driving along the road. Whatever.
I put it down in my friend's driveway.
Yeah, I was in my friend's driveway and I accidentally lowered it and plowed some snow out of it. I don't know. It's weird. So it's not like that's a thing that happens, but also he's not supposed to be doing that. So the fact that he's out, is he in hyperspace? Like, is he chilling out in hyperspace looking around? So what if he was needed in an emergency? What I'm saying is I think it's fine for him to be out and to do that, but I think it's more realistic to say they log that ahead of time. Like I'm planning to take this out for X number of hours or whatever, and I'll be unavailable. This person is my replacement in case there's an emergency and you need to send people out. Here's where I'll be, whatever.
Yeah.
Which she knows kind of where he is, but she doesn't know when he's going to be back. Because she's like, oh, I'll send him, after he comes back. And he's like, no, call him back now. This is urgent.
Immediately with a J.
Which he this thing is 10 hours late. I know Raiders are like all season 1 kind of a thing, but still, they could come back, right? And then we go to Dr. Franklin, and he's talking to the Marcab doctor, which actually we mentioned him in the previous episode because remember he was like, I've got a Marcab doctor who might know more about that. So that's how he was like, plinked in the episode prior.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, and it's just them in this room with a dead Marcab. And he's like, okay,
Yeah, and it seems very
more
casual,
natural,
whatever,
natural
until
death.
He's like, this is the 4th person dead in 3 days.
Yeah, he's like, there's a lot of people dying of natural causes recently.
It's hella sus.
Yeah, because he's like, Stephen Franklin, you could have just accepted my death certificate. And he's like, actually, no, I couldn't. Like, someone on staff has to sign off.
Yeah.
In cases of death, even by death by natural causes. And he's like, I don't see any signs of trauma. And the guy's like, he was ill for like a while. And his family is quite content with my diagnosis. He goes, one might only wish that you would extend me the same courtesy. And Dr. Franklin's like,
bruh.
Yeah, you already told me that 3 times already, that you have jurisdiction over your own kind or whatever. He's like, look, this isn't about courtesy or respect. I mean, obviously, nobody knows about Marcab biology like you know about Marcab biology, being Marcab and all.
Being a Marcab doctor.
One kitty out.
Do you want to
There's-
write down that time?
No, I leave the cat door. I feel like it's ASMR when we let the cats in
Okay.
and out. I think that was Smokey. Cookie is somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't know where Smokey or Cookie is. Smokey just left.
Yeah, I don't know. You didn't close Cookie in the snack
Oh, no.
cupboard.
Cookie's right here under the cabinet.
Oh, he's waiting. They are like a week ahead on their wet food, so they've been suffering. Bye, Cookie. Get your tail out of the door, Cookie. You walked in with your notes. Only whacked his tail. Gently
I
whacked
didn't
his
hit
tail.
him. I hit the door.
Oh, okay. All right. It reminds me of the only thing I could listen to on the radio or on the boombox or whatever growing up were these tapes of these 1950s radio program called The Bickersons.
Yep.
Starring Don Amici and Francis Langford in The Bickersons. And then it would do the music. Anyway, he had to take 2 aspirin and a jigger of bourbon every day to help with his snoring. And he was 2 years behind on the aspirin and 5 years ahead on the bourbon. So that reminds me of when the cats are actually ahead on their wet food. So they're a week ahead on their wet food and like 2 months behind on their dry food. So they're basically fainting all around the house like Victorian housewives. I haven't had wet food in 24 hours.
I've got the vapors.
I got the vapors. Anyway, back to Dr. Lazarin. Dr. Lazarin's like, I mean, you're not suggesting there's foul play, right? Because Dr. Franklin's like, I mean, this is like the 4th dead Marcab in like
Right.
3 days. All of natural causes. Now, statistically, that is pretty crazy. I mean, if the population is 5,000 Marcabs, I would say that 4 in 3 days is unlikely, but not not unheard of. Like the chances of 4 of them dying of natural causes within a 3-day period is like within the realm that I would say is okay. Like keep an eye on it, but not an immediate red flag, which I think is what Dr. Franklin is saying. Because later we find out there are 5,000 Marcabs on Babylon 5.
Yeah.
And not to be insensitive, but they all die. What do they do with 5,000 Marcab bodies? And they don't even know where all of them are
Right.
because some of them are hiding.
And the entire Marcab civilization has collapsed. So it's not like, oh, we just turned them over to the Marcab government.
No,
There
the
is
whole
no Marcab
planet
government.
is dead.
Yeah.
Everyone on the planet is dead. Everyone on Babylon 5 is dead. What do you do with them? Do you take them back to the planet and leave them there? Like lie them in state on the planet? What do you do? Whatever Delenn did to home cremate that one guy, just send a team.
Yeah, where's the incineration ring?
Send a team of Minbari with a couple of rings and a vacuum and just, compress them all into a container and shush them onto the
They
Marcab
can
planet.
they can just put them in that ship full of,
Oh, they
full
could.
of
They could
dead
just. Oh
Marcab,
my God, there's just
and then
so
just drop it into the sun.
much. I have so many logistical questions, and they all sound super insensitive, but like these are things that somebody would have to figure out
Yeah.
after the fact.
Yep.
Which is, and you'd have to designate races that cannot get it because,
Right, like
Races?
the Proc-Mara.
like the Pakmara couldn't do it, and the
Right.
Pakmara eat carrion. What if they find a Marcab and they're like, I mean, it's gonna stop me.
Do you think that's how the Proc-Mara got it?
I'm not. Like in my mind, that's what I remembered. Like I remembered them finding that he ate him, but I don't think they didn't. But in my
No.
mind, I was like, oh, it's because he ate him, and I like remembered them saying that, and they clearly didn't. So I don't know. It's an important question because you can't turn him over to the Marcab authorities. You can't give him to his family if they're still alive because you're just dooming them. No, you're not, because we found the cure.
Right.
We found the cure just after it happened.
Yep.
And it's not curable. It's like a virus that once you get it, you've got it, and you have to keep taking doses, but over time it will become less of a problem.
Yeah.
one might say undetectable. Like you can. Excuse me. Anyway, he's like, anyway, so pending any other findings, like I'll accept your certificates of death, but like I do kind of want to run some tests. So like I'm gonna go wash up and then arrange for the deceased to be taken to med lab for a routine autopsy. So thank goodness he's not like, oh, we're religiously against autopsies.
Yeah, we have a religious objection to,
Yeah.
or even just a respect of the body's objection
Yeah.
to you doing an autopsy.
And he goes, something here doesn't add up. And unlike Mr. Garibaldi, I don't like mysteries. And I would argue Garibaldi also does not like mysteries.
I was going to say that.
I think that's a misinterpretation of the fact. I think Garibaldi doesn't mind digging into a mystery, but I think he would much rather things not be mysterious.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Lazarin goes over and blows out the last 2 candles on the little candelabra.
Foreshadowing.
Which is absolutely not foreshadowing in any way, shape, or form. And then we go to the intro.
Yeah.
And we turn the page. Do we use paper notes? Yes. Do you know what? If you donate on the Ko-Fi, maybe I can get myself a tablet and then I won't have to turn pages where you can hear it. Sips my gin and tonic loudly. This is ASMR. Oh, which does bring me back to a really relevant point. I had to get a job. I know, a moment of silence, right?
But you didn't have to.
No. Our kids are old enough now that
they're in school 5 days a week.
I really needed. I need to be kept busy.
Too free during the day.
Or I get up to shenanigans. We bought a car. We bought a car for $450 because I found it on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, okay. And then we were in the truck towing it back to the house, and I was like, why do I do this? I can't be left to my own devices without
idle
gainful
hands.
employ. You know, the idle hands are the devil's playground. That's me. Okay. They wrote it about me, except we get up to stuff like buying cars and real estate and shit. So anyway, I got a job, which means that I have less time for all of my detailed editing that I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not seem like it, but I do spend like 4 hours editing every episode because I add in all those little clips.
Yeah.
And something has to give. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to suspend the little clips as much as I love them. I'm going to keep the beginning and the end one, kind of like I did, because when we were doing
Night.
No, Forever Night had them all throughout. And our early movie episodes had them, but I ended up having to stop doing it because it just took so much time to do the movie ones.
Yeah.
And I kept them in Forever Night, even though it took a lot of time, because I could just remember where the quotes were. I didn't have to look for them. But Babylon 5's a little different. And our episodes are so long, I have to listen to the whole episode to remember where to put all the clips.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to do those anymore. I didn't do them for Lex when we were doing the Dead Do Not podcast.
Yeah.
Which we still plan to get back to someday. I was only doing the beginning and the end because I think I was working at that time too, or we were moving. I just didn't have the time to put all the clips in. So I'm sorry. If you really love the clips and you want them to come back, we have a Ko-Fi and we have a Patreon, and you can go join those anytime and give us $1. $1. If many people gave us $1, I wouldn't have to work, and then I could put the clips back in. Or you could just, say thank you with your money, whichever one you wanted to. That's just a plug. We never shamelessly plug ourselves, like, ever. So I just want to shamelessly plug for like a hot second there. And then we'll whoop, whoop, whoop. That was our intro. We're back to the episode now.
Okay.
Because it is actually Ivanova talking to Zeta Wing. And she's doing the thing where she's like walking around in a circle and talking to everybody. And she's like, I mean, there might be a problem. There might not be a problem. Sometimes things go off the grid for 10 plus hours and we cannot reach them. And it's just sort of like, how often does it happen that this is not deemed an immediate emergency?
I want to ask you.
Okay.
The next couple lines.
Okay.
Do you have any insight into into the complexity of coordinate systems.
The Sector 23 grid 230 by 9 by 40 that you're talking about here?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't think anybody wants a lecture in real estate division in the state of Michigan, which I have just learned as part of my new job. I did learn, and this is pretty fascinating, that a lot of real estate is measured by a thing called chains. And it was at one time in the 1620s when it was originally codified. A chain? You had a chain?
It was a literal chain.
It was a literal chain with 100 links.
and it was
so
66 feet long.
66 feet long, which means each link is 0.66 feet long.
Yeah.
And there's like 10 chains by 10 chains for, I think, so many acres. It's fucking wild. Okay.
Yeah.
And the state of Michigan, where I am learning all of this stuff, is divided into, it's not sectors, it's sections. And they are all determined on a grid based on an agreed upon zero line that runs through the state.
Yeah.
And it's just a thing you don't think about, but they're like, okay, this property is located in section 4, township 42-1 west in the southeast corner of the southeast corner of the northwest corner of the northeast section. And then you have to figure out what they mean. Or I had one the other day that was like, we're selling this property except the westerly 8 feet of the easternly 80 feet of the northwest section. Anyway, no, I don't have any insight. I don't know how they divide it up. Did they divide space into a grid? But that
Is it layers of historical conventions of reference points and...
Well, what they had to do probably is come up with a way to measure space.
Yeah.
And then once you figured it out, you're fucking stuck.
Right.
Because you can't change it and then retroactively read. Like
Old
you would
maps.
lose colonies and stuff, like
Yeah.
in Murderbot, where they literally lost colonies. And then
Yeah.
they had to go back and figure out where they used to be to see if people are even still there.
Yeah.
But anything you had for space would have to be a 3-dimensional map. Because you can't think of space as a plane.
The galaxy, especially as you get near the edge, is pretty flat and thin, relatively thin. And so you could have like the sectors go from, especially at the edge of the galaxy.
Yeah, but thin galaxy is still orders of magnitude larger than just a 2-dimensional plane that you would
Right.
operate in.
Yeah.
So all you would have to do to get lost is go up or go down a certain amount
Relative to the galaxy.
relative to the
rotation.
galaxy. Yeah. Anyway, it's just like, thank you for that. You made me feel included there, honey. Appreciate it. It's like when I ask you information about programming.
Mm-hmm.
How would this work programming? And you're like, buckle up. And then it's half hour of the episode. Anyway, I just want to know how often something like this happens, that some sort of, it's even people. There's 200 people on it. And it's been missing for over 10 hours. And they're all like, I mean, if we find it, great. If we don't, whatever. Like, if we've got the time, I guess we can go look for it. It's just treated as a total non-emergency. And yet this feels like a pretty big fucking deal.
And it'd be like, hey, airport, I will be, I'm scheduling a flight. I will be arriving at this time. And then you don't show up. Is it the airport's responsibility to come looking for you?
Okay, but if a plane with 200 people on it was 10 hours late, there is a agency that is responsible for being like, well, that's fucking mysterious, and then trying to figure out where they are.
Right, but that might take a day or two. So this is like the first inkling of,
You
hey,
think a
something's wrong.
plane that's 10 hours late would not constitute an emergency to anyone?
Right, but it would be the airline's responsibility.
Yeah, but if the airline can't find it, then they contact
Right,
the
then it
higher
escalates.
agency. Yeah.
But
Well,
the
it's
airline,
been escalated. It was escalated to Babylon 5.
I don't think anybody escalated this to Ivanova. I think Ivanova was like, I'm looking through my logs just to see, just completeness of arrivals and departures and things. And, this ship was scheduled to arrive and it never arrived. What's up with that? And in the end, when they're talking about all these people on Markhab fled the planet, like urgently, they probably didn't have or the whole planet was already dead by then.
Well, I mean, this is 9 days.
The space line, the whatever company like owned that ship that they rented out, maybe everybody on Markhab at the space line company was already dead.
Yeah.
And so, it was 10 hours late. Nobody there to notice. And Ivanova's the only one who noticed.
I want to know if I can't stop making bad jokes about this. On the Markhab homeworld, is there a certain percentage of people that survived and they all started having dreams about this woman in a cornfield? And half of them were compelled to go to Las Vegas to meet up with Randall Flagg, and the other half were compelled to go to, I think,
a farm.
A farm in Nebraska. I think it's Nebraska. It's been so long since I've read The Stand. I'm talking about The Stand. You know what? You go and find yourself the miniseries from the 90s.
A Markhab adaptation of The Stand.
Yes. That's what we need. And in the end, they're all raptured and it doesn't matter. So it's fine. It was religious. Oh my God. Plot twist. Anyway, I think they're not worried because she's not lost. The ship isn't lost because they have the homing beacon. Because she's like, I already connected you up to the homing beacon. You should be able to find it.
Why did it stop?
Was it on autopilot? Maybe the guy was like, maybe he fell on the controls. So
he hit the brake.
He hit the off button. I don't know, honey. You're making me making bad jokes about it.
When they approach it, it could still be moving at like coasting velocity.
Yeah.
Toward whatever. They missed a turn at Albuquerque or something.
I don't know.
But
you know what? We don't
not
know
necessarily like parked dead stop in space.
Yeah. We don't know because we don't know everything that happened. We don't know what order everybody died in. Like, we don't know if the captain died first and somebody tried to take over and didn't know how to fly it. We don't know. And we're never going to find out. And it's interesting because when I was reading about this, they said that they did like a test of it where they played the episode for everybody to like do a sound test. And he was like, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. And I need to sit with that because it was sad. And I felt connected to a lot of the statements that were made. And I felt like he accurately predicted how people would react to this sort of play.
Maybe they just gave everybody eye drops, and that's why there were no dry eyes.
But I don't know. I don't know if we engage in media slightly differently now. I don't remember if I was overly sad the first time around. I think I was like, oh, that sucks. I don't know. Like, I feel like I need to sit with it.
But if you were showing this to like the production team or just the Babylon 5 team, they would feel more involved. They'd be more engaged.
I guess. Well, I don't know. A lot of the contemporary things seem to imply that everybody felt that this was like a tearjerker episode. And it is sad. I know we've made a couple of cracks about it, but this was a bold choice to kill off an entire race and not just like a random race. This isn't the Star Trek move where you would meet the race and they would all die all in the same episode. This is like if all the Drazi died.
Right.
Or whatever. So it's a bold move.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. I just feel like I need to sit with it. Like, why did I not have a more emotional reaction to this? Probably because I've lived through this.
Because we went through COVID.
And we're just I'm emotionally exhausted about plague-related stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, they go. She's like, happy hunting. Go off. Shoo, go on. Have a good time, everybody. Find the transport, bring it home. And then she's like, oh, yes, one more thing, Lieutenant, to Kefir.
This was such a nice speech by Ivanova.
The captain wants a moratorium on your little expeditions into hyperspace. So, like...
Your freelance expeditions.
Don't do that anymore. And he's like, okay, but like it's on my own time. And she's like, yeah, that's not the issue. Things are a little crazy around here right now. You know that, right? And he's like, yeah, but there's something out there. And then Ivanova says, yes, there's also something in here. The something in here is me giving you a fucking order. And if there is some part of that sentence that you don't understand, I'll explain it over the next 4 months while we watch Zeta Squadron go on missions without you. And I
Understood.
said, this is why you should never have invited him to eat with you. Because remember at the very beginning of the season, he was like chumming it up with Sheridan and everybody. And you're like, the fuck is wrong with you?
You're not a command officer.
You're not the boss of me. Anyway, she is actually the boss of him,
Right.
whether or not they've had too many drinks together or whatever. And he's like, okay, like, understood, whatever. I'll be back in a few hours. Remember that. This is going to take a few hours. In fact, I think he mentions that it takes anywhere from like 3 to 5 hours to get out there, find the Marcab ship dead in the water, and bring it back.
Do they
Because
tow it back?
They must tow
Do they?
it. They don't go on it.
They put people in?
No, I don't think they go on it. I think they just
They tow it?
They use space tongs. They clamp on it.
There
and
are
they
a
bring it
couple
home.
Star Furies that look like they're attached to the ship, and I'm wondering if they just attached the Star Furies and then the couple humans went on board.
I don't think
and
anybody went
piloted
on
it.
board because they were all dead.
I don't think the Star Fury engines are strong enough to tow this ship.
It's just space.
But it's going to take 3 or 4 times as long.
They can't dock with it unless it has a Star Fury dock. They can't get off and get on there. It's not like
They
they
got
have
spacesuits on.
No, well, they don't know where the door is.
They
It's a
got
Marcab
spacesuits.
space. It's a Marcab spaceship. I think they
Maybe
could.
there's a Marcab in Zeta Wing.
If it was already in motion, all they had to do was steer it.
True.
So
True.
they could have just been pushing it in the correct direction faster than it was already moving. It's just space. It's not like it'd be hard to get it to move. God.
What, like it's hard?
Like it's hard. It's not like you have air resistance or anything. And then we go to this wonderful moment, which is another thing that got discussed on the forums ad nauseum.
The Minbari meal.
The Minbari meal. Because
This is a little over the top.
this was hysterical. So this isn't if in case you didn't know, this is humor. This is JMS being funny
Yes.
by being over the top. And one of the comments that people made was that it was super insensitive for Sheridan to have fallen asleep. Like they can't believe that he would have Sheridan disrespecting a culture and boorish. Somebody must have called him boorish because he goes, he is not boorish. So he must have been directly responding to somebody saying that Sheridan acted like a boor, like a real uncouth individual.
Yeah.
And he points out that dinner starts before Zeta Wing leaves and it's still going when Zeta Wing comes back.
Yeah.
So they
it's
could have been
been
sitting there for as
like
much as
6
5
hours.
hours
Yeah.
meditating between bites of food. And he goes, you try not falling asleep after meditating for 5 hours. He was like, he was not being boorish. He just fell asleep. Like it just happens. He wasn't trying to disrespect them. He just happened to fall asleep because he'd been sitting there quietly for hours. I fall asleep when I'm trying to do stuff. Like, I can't even imagine.
We were watching
What was this last night?
Clash of the Titans.
Oh, yeah.
And I was fairly engaged for most of it, but I almost nodded off a couple times.
Oh, I did. I almost did. I definitely closed my eyes. I was playing Minecraft Dungeons with the kids, which is like a interactive thing you have to keep doing.
Fast-paced,
And I kept catching myself just sitting there with my eyes closed. I can usually tell I'm really tired when the bargaining starts. If you just close your eyes for a few minutes, it's going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
Yep.
Anyway, this is when Delenn has invited Sheridan to eat dinner with her because he took her to a restaurant. And so now she has had food prepared for them because Lanier did all the cooking.
Poor Linear.
This is, well, I have to say, it looks great. And she's like, thank you. After you treated me to human food, it only seemed fair to return the favor. Lanier has spent the last 2 days preparing the meal. And I wrote, this is like the I smoked it for 3 days, guys.
One of my friends at work, before Thanksgiving, we were just chatting. And one of my friends from work was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to smoke this brisket. I'm going to smoke this brisket. It's going to take 4 days. And he's going through like the whole
The
process.
Yeah.
And I was telling Rachel about it. And I think I had seen a reel with the same sentiment that you voiced, which was the only people who are proud of how long they spend cooking something are people that don't have to cook habitually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sent me the thing about like, I didn't realize I was only doing the fun parts. And it was a dad, and it was like his wife went back to work and he was going to have to get his kid ready.
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't realize, like, of course cooking is fun when I don't have to cook 3 meals a day. Like, I'm not obligated to do it. I can just do it when I feel like it. Or like bath time is fun when I'm not trying to get them in and out of the bath and get them to preschool.
On time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Lanier cooked for 2 days, and Sheridan goes, 2 days? And Lanier goes, for a meal with such an honored guest, there are rituals and traditions. The food must be sanctified during each of the 15 stages of cooking. For instance, the spices must be blessed, and then a specific prayer spoken when they're used, and they can only be used once and only in the correct order. And if an error is made, then the entire meal must be abandoned, and we must start again from scratch. And I wrote, oh, so kind of like how Matt cooks.
Hey, I'm retaining the sanctity of the ingredients.
I am just trying to do this ritualistically, and that is how I lit a pretzel on fire in the microwave.
Shh.
I always come back to that because
hey,
I just bought that fucking microwave.
I gave our child some pro tips on making orange juice from frozen concentrate.
Yeah, you did fine on that. But I had just bought that microwave. I unpacked it. I set it up. You got out one of those frozen pretzels and microwaved it for 5 minutes and lit it on fire in the microwave.
That microwave was the least intuitive microwave interface I have ever used.
And it discolored the whole inside of the microwave.
You're welcome. I decorated it.
Like 30 minutes after I bought it.
That one you didn't buy. We got that one
No,
for
I
free.
bought that one.
I thought that was the little blue one.
Because the one we got for free stopped working. And so I took that one out and took it down to the shop.
I replaced the fuse later.
And it started to work. But then I went and got a new microwave because we didn't have one.
You're welcome. I broke it in.
And then you were like, you know what I should do? I should light bread on fire in the microwave. Every time Matt cooks, he sets off the fire alarm.
No!
Oh, without exception.
I made mac and cheese.
Oh, you're right. You can do box things.
I made mac and cheese the other day for lunch for the kids while you were gone at work. And I did fine. But I have cooked hundreds of boxes of Kraft mac and cheese. Would
an individual who would be, say, a turnkey kid who had to come home and cook his own food, you can open a can of fruit cocktail.
Yep.
You can open a can of Vienna sausages.
Yep, I can make ramen.
You can microwave
mac
ramen.
And cheese.
You can make mac and cheese. Juice concentrate. Got that shit down. Mm-hmm. You can eat straight bread out of the bag. Spoons of peanut butter out of the jar. Like, all those are definitely in your wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. Microwaving pizza rolls. Microwaving individual servings of chicken pot pie.
Making freeze-dried mashed potatoes.
Yes. Yeah. You can add hot water to a package of mashed potatoes. All of those things. But the one time you tried to cook a meal, you tried to make falafel, and you burned it so badly, our daughter still remembers it. She's like, do you remember, Dad, the time that you tried to make falafel and you set off the fire alarm?
I'm doing my best.
Oh, honey. Anyway, yes, that reminded me of and then every time they're like, oh yeah, and then Lanier can cook again, and he's like, yes, of course, because he hasn't slept in 2 days.
Because he can't sleep because that would lead to errors.
Well, Sheridan says, so when did you sleep? And he's like, oh no, Lanier has not slept for 2 days. It could lead
in
to
order
error.
to remain pure, he has taken only water and bread.
No pressure though. Hope you like it. And he goes, well, yeah, it smells great.
I have not eaten all day.
And I'm really looking forward to
this.
this. And then he goes to eat and they're like, oh, no. And he goes, what's wrong? And they're like, oh, no, there's rituals to follow in preparing it and also in eating it. I want to roll this out next Thanksgiving because there's nothing quite like spending 6 hours cooking food.
Yeah.
And then having everyone be done in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think next year we're going to do this. I'm going to force everyone to take a bite.
I'll be there with you.
And then meditate on what they just ate. And then take another bite.
And then meditate.
Yes.
She says meditate on food.
Yeah.
So it's like, food.
Our
the
daughter,
concept of food.
considering how food, how do I phrase this? Food centered our daughter is. What amazes me is her ability to sniff out what you've just made. One time I ate a candy bar and then I went in to kiss her goodnight and she goes, did you just eat a candy bar?
I wonder, our son is really picky, but we're leaning towards the idea that he's like a super taster.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Right?
I think he's just extremely.
I think our daughter is a super smeller.
Yeah. Yes. And she knows when you've heated up leftovers and she will pop out of the bushes. The minute you pull it out of the microwave, she's like, oh, can I have it?
The last three things that I have heated up for leftovers, I take it out of the microwave, I stir it up and let it sit, let it evenly distribute the heat.
Uh-huh.
And before I get to eat it, she shows up and she gives me like the puppy dog eyes and like slow blink. And,
she knows.
Please. And she wants it. And so usually I say, okay, sure. But tonight, no, I put my foot down.
You stood your ground on that ravioli. You were like, nah, this is mine.
It's the last of the ravioli.
That's why, because you're like, I can't get myself another container.
Yeah, usually I can say, okay, you have that one. I'll make a second one.
Well, we need to
I would have
her.
heated one up for you if you had asked me. So
right.
whatever.
Well, earlier she said there's nothing to eat in this house because I don't want to make anything and I don't like leftovers.
She doesn't like ingredients.
Or leftovers.
Yeah, she says we're an ingredient household.
Yeah, well, sorry. Anyway, what you need to tell her next time is there are rituals to follow in preparing a meal of this nature. And if we must observe the rituals, otherwise the food is no longer sanctified. And Lanier must begin all over again. And Lanier looks at him like, dear God, please do the rituals. And Sheridan goes, well, we certainly wouldn't want that, would we? What do I do? She's like, okay, first you hand me your bowl and I hand you mine. Okay, this is a gesture of welcoming. Okay, and then we offer a portion of our meal.
I noted this feels like a wedding ceremony.
It does. And then we offer a portion of our meal to the one who prepared it. And they hand some to Lanier and he's like, thank you. And he goes, okay, I'm going to eat now. And they're like, no. And then it is tradition for the guest to set aside one piece of flarn in the memory of Valen in the place that is set aside for his return. And they look over and there's another place at the table. And he's like, okay, the flarn would be, and they're like, the green. Yes, the green one.
I liked at the end after he leaves, they say some stuff in Minbari.
Yeah.
And they say flarn.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't translate it, which is another thing he says because people are apparently upset. And he was like, what? Sometimes I think the imagination is better than an actual translation, don't you?
I agree.
This reminds me of when we watch K-dramas. And there's a lot of ritual stuff around food that they do that until you've watched enough K-dramas.
That's one of the funnest parts of watching like K-dramas or the Chinese dramas or the Japanese stuff.
Yeah, is the food.
Well, not even just the food, but
how they
all
eat
of
it.
The cultural rituals around everything.
Yeah, they have like the Koreans have all these side dishes which have a special name. And there's something about the number of side dishes. And it's also important, like if you feed another person, there's a lot of like cultural nuance that is happening when they sit down to eat together.
Yeah.
That you, without the cultural context, miss.
Yeah.
And I've watched enough K-dramas, and I was fortunate to be around when Viki used to be the fan run website that was like people putting up bootleg dramas and then volunteering to add their own subtitles. And
subtitles and just clarifications in general.
They used to add cultural context for things. They'd be like, oh, this guy just handed him a piece of food. This is what this means. And it was so nice because you could A lot of times what they're saying is a joke and you don't get the joke. Like I've been rewatching my favorite K-drama of all time on Netflix.
Second favorite?
I kind of like it better. I know.
How
I love
dare
Goblin
you.
as a thing that we shared, and I love me some Gongwoo, obviously. Gongyu. But I do love My Love from the Stars. And it is on Netflix, and it's like my favorite K-drama of all time. And if you're thinking about dipping your toes into K-dramas and you're like, what on earth are you talking about? It's a pretty typical K-drama in that it follows the formula that pretty much all K-dramas follow.
Yeah.
So if you like it, you are in like all likelihood going to like other things too.
Most
But
K-dramas, yeah.
there are names that they have for each other that designate like, are you older? Are you younger? And then how I view you in terms of respect. And when they used to put it on Vicky, they would leave it. They'd leave like Nuna or whatever. So you knew who everybody was to each other. They don't do that on Netflix, and it drives me bananas. And there's another part where like she's calling him different names throughout the series. She calls him his name, and then later she starts calling him manager, and they only translate it as his name. And so you miss the joke. Anyway, just to point out that while this is funny and somewhat far-fetched, it's not like this is that far off.
Right. If you've watched enough foreign stuff, especially like Korean or Japanese like slice of life drama stuff.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this feels like.
Yeah. And I like his participation in it. He's like, okay, what's next? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's a diplomat.
Right. And then he has to eat with his right hand. Is he left-handed?
I don't know, because I think he had it in his left hand to give it to Valen. Valen's seat. But I don't know. Is Bruce Boxleitner left-handed?
Well, now we're going to have to pay attention because he's holding his fork in his left hand. And he
I
has
don't
to
think he
switch
is.
it to his right hand to eat. And then he acts like it's really awkward to eat with his right hand. And then he does say it's really good. He didn't have a choice. It had to be good. He had no options.
Yeah.
None.
It looked like a big chunk of roasted onion.
And then they're like, okay, we have to now meditate upon the food. And he even does the hand gesture for them where he's like,
Yeah,
okay,
the meditation
I'm going to
posture.
think about the food.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Zeta Wing. After this moment of levity in an otherwise incredibly heavy episode,
Yeah.
we go to Zeta Wing because they have found the Marcab transport. And really all that happens here is they call, it doesn't answer. And he's like,
There's
cool.
200 life forms, but no life signs.
Right. So all 203 Marcab that are on there are dead. And then we go to Dr. Franklin in Med Lab. And Dr. Franklin has just finished his autopsy on the Marcab that he brought up. And he calls down to Med Lab 2 and he's like, hey, did we already send those other 3 Marcabs back to the homeworld? And they're like, no. And he goes, okay, great. Send them up. Send them up. And they're like, okay, is there a problem? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe is what he says. And then we go back to Zeta Squadron.
As they're bringing the ship in.
Right. And he's like, we're going to need like a full medical team. Shit's gone hinky. I got an ugly feeling about this is what he says. And this is when they call Captain Sheridan.
And he wakes up and recites a line.
He's literally been sleeping. He's like, sleeping. And this is when you would call him boorish if you were going to at all, which is he just falls asleep meditating, which it's been hours after what has probably already been a very busy day.
Yeah.
And he wakes up and he's just like, in the memory of the 9 and the 1. What were we?
I don't snore.
And they were like, you were asleep. And he's like, what? No. What? No, I was meditating. And they're like, okay, so the sound you were making, is that part of human meditation? And he goes, I do not snore. And then they call him Saved by the Bell.
I sympathize. I also do not snore.
Do you not? Not when I whack you. You roll over. At this point, all I have to do is just bump you and you roll over.
Mm-hmm.
You do the same for me because I also do not snore. I don't know. You haven't been complaining about me snoring. Have I stopped snoring or do I still snore?
It's cute.
Okay. So you just let it go. Well, yours are
It usually doesn't last long.
yours are disruptive. So wake you up. You were snoring on the couch the other day, and Penny goes, "Oh, Dad is asleep." And I was like, "Oh yeah, definitely." I do not snore. And then he gets a call. Sheridan, go. They're like, "Okay, we got a problem in Bay 14. I think you better get over here." And so he gets ready to leave, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." And they're like, "I mean, it's okay. The ritual of the meal was concluded some moments before you began meditating," which means he made it. He just didn't make it past the end.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, okay. Well, thank you once again for your invitation."
And then Delenn says, "We must do it again." And Lanier looks at Delenn and then says, "Yes, of course."
I said, "This is the Midwestern." Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. Which is no. No, I don't want to do that. And then they have their untranslated conversation where they talk to each other, which is super cute.
Yeah.
It's a good punctuation mark on that moment, because the next time we see
Something
them,
about the Flarn.
well, the next time we see them, it's going to be really dramatic.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised nobody used the language from the Babylon 5 trading cards to translate what they said. Which means either we don't get enough written or verbal use of the language to be able to translate it, or it's there's no codified
It's
language
actually
and
gibberish.
it's untranslatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is when we come back to Dr. Lazarin, Stephen Franklin, and Sheridan. And they are standing outside the airlock to the ship full of dead people who have been dead for we don't know how long.
Right.
And we don't really cover how quick. Well, maybe the Marcab don't, but like it doesn't take very long
For things to start smelling.
for things to start being unpleasant around 200 dead bodies.
Right.
And your issue then is not the disease they were carrying, but like all the other things that go with being not alive,
Decomposing.
and not alive anymore. I'm trying to be sensitive here, but there's a bunch of rotting flesh on this ship. And they're like, "Hey, we're trying to get in there." And he's like, "Oh, no, the ship you've commandeered is Marcab property. I can't allow your people inside." That's what Dr. Lazarin says. And they're like, "Okay, but like the ship was found floating dead in space. So we have," and he's like, "No, we have a right to privacy." And Dr. Franklin goes, "You mean you have the right to hide the truth?" "What the hell do you think you were doing?" is what he says. And Lazarin goes, "Doctor." He goes, "Stephen." He uses his first name like, "Dude, throw me a fucking bone here. I'm in the same boat you are. I'm beholden to a governing body the same way you are beholden to a governing body."
I don't think that he is beholden to a governing body.
I think he is.
Governing body in the same way that Dr. Franklin is beholden to a governing body, considering Dr. Franklin's history.
Well, I think Dr. Franklin has oversight. I don't think he gives a shit about his oversight.
Oh, yeah. His position on his oversight is fuck the man. And he proudly embraces that attitude.
Which is probably why he doesn't understand why Lazarin went with it.
Right.
Because he wouldn't have.
Right.
He would have found a way around it.
Fuck the man.
Fuck
I'm
the
going to
man.
talk about it.
I'm going to do what needs to get done to save lives because that's what I signed up to do. So when
Yeah.
he sees someone who followed the rules, he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Not follow the rules, follow the directives.
Yeah, was given an order and did it without
Yeah.
questioning it. Which is what another facet of the same thing that led him to doing the surgery on the little boy.
Mhm.
The same, like, I understand what you're saying to me, but that doesn't fit my moral code, so I'm not sure how valid it is. I have a really difficult time adhering to something I don't fully understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Or as John Vervaeke says, the same systems that make us intelligent and adaptive also make us susceptible to self-deceptive, self-destructive behavior.
Yeah, exactly like that.
That's why sentience is complicated.
truer words. I'm just going to nod my head. He goes, you don't want us to board that shit because you suspect the same thing we do. Sheridan's like, what?
Sheridan's like, I just woke up from a nap.
He's like,
what's going on?
He's like, I have been eating one bite at a time for 5 fucking hours. And I fell asleep. I put my jacket on.
I didn't even get my whole nap in.
What are we talking
God damn
about? What are we talking about?
Somebody explain this to me like I'm 5.
Pretend I don't have a medical degree. And Dr. Franklin's like, okay, well, we had 4 dead Markhab in 3 days, and Dr. Lazarin has certified them all as death by natural causes. And nothing jumped out at me, so like I let it go, but I just finished a more detailed examination, and they were killed by some kind of plague or infectious disease that was brought here by your people. And I want to know how terminal and how contagious this is. And Dr. Lazarin's like, oh, don't worry. It's 100% terminal and 100% contagious. Which is another thing he had to argue about on the forum because he apparently had to refute somebody who was like, no disease is 100% contagious. And this is when he was like 3/4 of the population of England was wiped out by the Black Plague. And there was the little editor's note that was like, I mean, not really, but like, okay. I mean, if it's your world and it's your race and it's your disease and you want it to be 100% terminal and 100% contagious, fucking go off.
It can be 100% terminal, but the contagiousness, it's all statistical. And there's a whole genre of statistical language to talk about how contagious things are.
This is a fantasy disease in a fantasy world.
Right. But epidemiology as a science just using observed facts to describe the spread behavior is something that Dr. Franklin would be versed in.
In a human epidemiology.
Right. It's fine for the Markhab doctor to say it's 100% contagious if he's trying to translate their like, oh yeah, per our epidemiology terminology, whatever, we just call this 100% contagious.
Right, because the odds of you getting it are so high.
Right.
That over a long enough timeline, you will get it.
Yeah. And any exposure is lethal exposure.
And it's apparently a totally new disease, totally novel disease, because they don't have anything to compare it to in order to create a cure.
Yeah.
So anyone exposed to it will eventually get it.
Yeah.
And it will eventually kill them because it's 100% terminal. Now, how long it lies dormant, we don't know.
Right.
But my point here is he gets to say whatever he wants because he's writing the episode.
Yeah.
And sure, if it was a human disease and you said it's 100% contagious and 100% terminal, you would be beholden to certain rules of epidemiology, unless you could come up with a realistic reason why it's 100% contagious.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, he's pretty free to do whatever he fucking wants because it's his world. So I love that he felt the need to defend that, though, where he's like, no, yeah, you can have them where they're like super duper contagious. You can.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Yeah, it can happen. Right? So it's fine. Anyway, I thought that was funny that lots of people were arguing with him about this. And he was like, I get to do whatever. Look at, he takes out his little piece of paper. I do whatever the fuck I want.
Wait, whose name is on this show?
Oh,
right. It's mine.
It's mine, bitches. I do what I want. That's exactly that was the entire mood of the forum in this one was, it kind of looks like I get to do whatever the fuck I want. And then we go to Dr. Franklin and Lazarin, and Dr. Franklin is yelling at him, and he's like, what the fuck were you thinking? The fuck were you thinking? You thought you could keep this a secret? And he's like, no, I didn't think I could keep it a secret. He goes, why didn't you say something? Like, why didn't you call me in to help? I'm a xenobiologist. I'm a very good one. I passed a class one time and everything.
I've been to Markhab. Have you been to Markhab?
He's like, the plague is spreading like wildfire and it's not something we talk about. And he's like, what do you mean it's not something you talk about?
Yeah, what do you mean you don't talk about it?
And he's like, oh, I mean, this disease appeared once before, like, centuries ago. And it was on this little island that was noted for certain excesses. And I just wrote, not AIDS, though.
Not AIDS.
This is not AIDS. I'm going to put this out here. And this is just my personal opinion. But the fact that he did not capitalize on this as an opportunity to insert a little obvious commentary by being like,
right, obvious social
he
commentary
could have
about
just put a
AIDS.
line in the forum that was like, if you saw the AIDS epidemic in the way that this was discussed, it might be something you want to think about.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He just kept saying it's not about AIDS. And I'm not going to lie, that felt a little cowardly.
I wonder if it was pressure from like the studio to not talk about AIDS, or if it was more like a hyper focused sense of correctness of no. And when I wrote this, I was not thinking about AIDS.
I mean, Mike JMS is autistic. Like it's a very
right.
He states that in his autobiography.
Yeah. So it very well could be
I can
that
see
just
this as like a
sense of
rigid thinking thing.
Yeah.
Where he's like, no, this isn't about AIDS. This is about the MARCAB.
Right. And maybe if you got him into a conversation and outlined like, hey, here are the themes that really line up with the AIDS epidemic, and there's a lot of mirroring between the AIDS stuff and what's presented in your episode. Do you think that is an accurate metaphor for what's happening in this episode? And he could say, yeah, I can see how someone could interpret that as a metaphor for AIDS.
That's not what I was going for.
But I wasn't thinking about AIDS at all when I wrote this, except for the one line that
where
Franklin
he
uses.
mentions AIDS. I think he
mentioned AIDS in the standard triad formula of two real things and one fake thing.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about how Forever Night had an AIDS episode, but Forever Night was a Canadian production being made in Canada.
Right.
And this is an American production being made in the U.S. during an administration that was not
very
sympathetic.
anti-AIDS. Yeah.
And so I think I get where he was coming from in never pointing the finger at it, but you could simply have said, he even says, if you are seeing an AIDS in this, you're wrong. He could have just said, well, I didn't intend it that way, but if you're seeing it that way, maybe it gives you something to think about.
Right.
And he didn't. And I feel like there's a lot of complicated reasons that all came about. And it would be interesting to sit down and talk with him about it now. And
because
now 2 plagues later.
Yeah, especially considering the stuff he's done since this, like he's not
like after Sense8.
Right.
Walk me through how you did Sense8, but this isn't about AIDS. He also says when it was struck down, my people, when the people were being killed on this island, believed it was a punishment by the gods for their lack of morality.
Right.
So there's a lot of callbacks for it to not be a callback.
Right.
And for it all to be a coincidence. I mean, I think we can put this issue to bed after this because it's going to keep coming up if we let it keep coming up because parallels are going to keep coming up, which is just, I think if you as a viewer want to see this as being about it, you can. JMS has specifically stated it's not. So wherever you want to fall on that, fall.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is this is a commentary on the way that we stigmatize disease. And
with
it just
religious morality
happens to be super, super relevant to both the AIDS epidemic and then later the COVID epidemic.
Yeah.
And so I think we can just leave it at that. So the gin won, and we had the opportunity to sleep on it. And it's now a hot jala podcast instead of a hot gin podcast. So I want to say one more thing before I follow through on my promise to just leave the AIDS thing at the door. Because I had a minute to sit with it, and I realized I like that it's not specific. I like that he wasn't like, yes, this is about the AIDS
Right.
crisis.
This is specifically and singularly about
One
an
thing.
AIDS commentary.
I like it as this is a commentary on the way we handle infectious disease as a culture overall.
Yeah.
I like that better. As someone who's gone through not one, but two, because we were alive during the AIDS crisis. Like we were like in middle school.
Yeah.
I was in late elementary, early middle school during the AIDS crisis. And then again, we're here for COVID. So like we've gone through this twice. And so I think it's really nice to think of it as an overall commentary rather than a one-off commentary, because then it feels applicable for the next go round.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just leave it at that. And he does say that they named the disease after the island devastated by it. And this is the only time they use the name for the disease.
Yeah.
Draffa.
Draffa.
And it reminded me of, why do we call lesbians lesbians? And
Oh.
it's from the island of
Lesbos.
Lesbos. And I was like, did you know? It's kind of like there's that Studio Ghibli film, our kids' favorite, almost. No, they really like the one with the bugs. Oh my God. All I can think
Nausicaa?
is Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind.
Ohms.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I could think was Snowflower and the Secret Fan. I knew for sure it wasn't that because that's an entirely different movie. No. And then there's Castle in the Sky, Castle in the Air.
La Puta.
La Puta. Yes.
La Puta.
And somebody asked him, they asked
Miyazaki.
did you know what that meant in Spanish? And he was like, no, it's not in Spanish. It's in a different way. It just happens to sound like La Puta. Anyway, that's what it kind of felt like. Where he was like, oh, it's named after the island. Oh, was it? Was it? Okay, great. That's fine. It's kind of like Crete and Cretan. That's another one.
Yeah, I was reading a line about someone cursed.
I think Athena cursed them to never tell the truth.
Yeah, the people of Crete to always be liars.
Yeah.
But they Cretans, Cretans,
Yeah.
from the island of Crete.
And now cretin is it's fine. Etymology is a fun science. So this is when Dr. Franklin is like, okay, so this 100% transmissible, 100% fatal disease or infectious whatever killed all of these people on this island and it didn't spread. Why didn't it spread? And he was like, oh, they were isolated by weather for like a year. And by the time anybody got out to the island, it had wiped out the population. So like they were all dead. There was no way for it to spread.
It's all better now.
So it was fine. We didn't worry about it anymore. We assumed that the disease dead ended at that point. And he's like, oh my God, you are a doctor. You know as well as I do that diseases can go dormant for years and centuries. Okay, but like this isn't his baby, okay? Because this is mythical. This is so long ago.
From Lazarin's perspective,
yeah,
like this is a mythological story at this point, centuries ago.
Yeah.
Like from his perspective, from Lazarin's perspective, this may not even be a real disease. It's just like a history lesson.
Right.
And nobody knows what the real cause was.
This would be like the Spanish flu coming back.
It's not worth his attention to spend time like investigating.
Yeah.
Oh, is there a disease? Is it dormant? Is it still deadly?
Right.
So come on, Franklin.
Because it's been centuries since it's been an issue. So any reasonable person could assume that it had stopped at that point.
Right.
Or become mutated to the point where it was endemic but not fatal. Like the Spanish flu.
Right.
Which
and
we skipped. We did
the
Black
entire
Plague.
population of that island could have been killed by like carbon monoxide from a hydrothermal vent or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know. So that's a real unfair criticism.
Yeah,
okay, so I'm going to need you to get off your fucking
in the
high
last
horse.
year, they should have been researching it.
Correct.
Because it showed back up.
When it came back and started killing people, that's when you could be like, oh, okay, it's an immediate issue now.
Yeah.
Not, let me go dig up the dirt on this island and see if I can find it again. And whoopsie doodle, I dropped my vial and now we're all going to die. And then we're back to the stand. So, like, let's not do that. I get why he was like, I don't know, I just thought it wasn't a problem. We didn't even know it was really a disease. It could have been moldy cheese. It could have been moldy wheat. It could have been anything. It was an island. Nobody was alive to tell us it was an infectious disease.
Right. And it was an island with stigma.
Right. And this was centuries ago. We don't know. We know the Marcab must be recently in the League of Non-Aligned Worlds because they reference the fact that like it's back because we've come out here and we're interacting with these immoral people. So they act like a group that has been isolated for a long time and has only recently arrived on the galactic stage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that they didn't have the technology centuries ago to be able to detect a disease like this.
Right.
Just like 2 centuries ago, we were not great at detecting diseases. I think statistically, medicine only started making an actual impact in life expectancy in like the 1950s. So we're within the first 100 years of medicine being effective enough that it wasn't just like, I don't know, fucking leeches, whatever you want, man.
Right.
Like we're literally within someone's lifetime. When my mother was born, it was around the time when medicine actually got to like, okay, you're doing good.
Like modern pharmaceuticals and
yeah,
like germ theory.
and she still lived through the Delcon Shield controversy of as long as we're just inserting it and it's a metal thing, we don't have to test it because you're not ingesting it.
It's not a drug.
It's not a drug. We're just putting it in your body. Why would you need to test that?
No
That's
medical
ridiculous.
testing necessary.
If you want to know more about that, look up the Delcon Shield. It was a IUD that they manufactured in the same facility where they make chapstick. So a completely non-sterile facility, and it had a multi-fiber cord that they thought they did not seal at the end. They left it open because when they sealed the end, it made the end sharp, and they were concerned that men would feel uncomfortable.
Ouchies.
You poked me penis.
Ow.
No one likes it. And so it turns out if you have a multi-fiber cord that's not sealed, it just wicks bacteria up into the uterus, and women died or got massive infections and had lifelong health consequences, i.e. my mother. So anyway, we will move forward from there. I'm just saying there is a...
Franklin's pretty judgy
Yeah,
here.
you're being a bit of a judgy bitch there, Dr. Franklin, considering your own history.
Yeah.
And then he sits there and he's like, well, I mean, we had the Black Plague, we had AIDS. He skipped the Spanish flu. He skipped polio. He skipped a whole host.
He skipped COVID.
Oh my God, if he had predicted COVID, I would be done. I'd be like, you know what? I'm done. I throw in the towel. I can't continue watching this. He's like, oh, they can mutate. They can come back out of nowhere. Why were preparations not made? That's where he's being a real judgy bitch. And he's like, I mean, over time, Lazarin's like, over time, it was not just a disease. It was like a legend. It was literally like a nightmare bedtime story. Be good or the dark angel will bring you the curse of Drafa. It's like only the immoral would ever be touched by it, Stephen. So the first new case of Drafa was detected nearly a year ago. They were so scandalized, they lied about what killed him.
Oof.
Yeah. But then several of them had become infected, believing they were moral. They were sure they would not be touched. God, this is so painful. Like in this whole section where he's like, and then they just went out among the people and the disease began to spread. And you're like, like, do you think maybe they were like, could you wear masks? And they were like, no, we can't breathe through masks.
Right.
Oh no, I can't. It lowers my oxygen quotient when I have to wear a mask. God. Looking back now, you're like, what the fuck was happening?
But then when they need to remain anonymous, they can wear a mask.
Yeah, somehow now it's fine. So each new infection was accompanied by silence and fear and the assumptions that they were immune. And Dr. Franklin's like, okay, but like, what about the ship though? Like, you guys knew you had some sort of infectious disease. It was spreading like wildfire through the people. And you were like, you know what we should probably do? Load 200 infected people on a boat and send them off into the galaxy to go spread the good news.
This was just one of the ships. They sent ships to pretty much every colony.
Yeah.
So pretty much every colony's gone.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that...
Except for the What do they call the people in Japan that are like locked in the rooms and they don't
otaku?
it's like hikikomori or something.
I don't know. Yeah.
The ones who are just completely isolated
All I know
for like
is
social anxiety reasons mostly.
the guy from World War Z. Like that's
Yeah.
my
Yes,
whole
yes.
interaction with
That
that
guy.
culture.
The people who have self-isolated because they're chronically online.
Yeah. Because their online life is richer than their.
Those Mark have survived.
Yeah.
Because they were busy watching anime.
He mentions that
bedroom-
because they're
bedrooms.
like, somebody must have been like, well, it can't have possibly gotten to everybody because there's got to be isolated Markabs that are not among other Markabs and stuff. And he was like, yeah, there could be upwards of a couple hundred of them that survived, but it's the same thing that's happening with the koalas where like there are still koalas, but they're effectively extinct because there's not a large enough gene pool to expect them to be able to stay alive.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, yes, two people can survive and they can have babies, but then you got to have babies with your babies and shit gets hinky real fast. Okay.
Right.
Like, it doesn't really work out the way you think it's going to work out. And in the comment section thing in the Lurker's Guide, where JMS was talking about what he was hoping to achieve with this, where after he had adamantly discussed what we've already discussed, he went on to say that what he was really going for was about how people in large groups, when faced with a crisis like this, get stupid.
Yeah.
That we all just go absolutely crazy. And there's a good book about this, and I plug it
The
anytime
Watchman's
it
Rattle.
pops up, and it's called The Watchman's Rattle. And the lady discusses the fact that we mentally are not as complex as we think we are, and we literally cannot handle over a certain complexity of problems. So in our modern world, when we are faced with everything that we're faced with, our brain does shut down to protect us.
Right.
And one of the things that it does when it shuts down is gets religious. And that is why
Because one solution can potentially solve all the problems.
right.
Rather than having to find and evaluate multiple solutions for each problem and apply the correct solution for each individual problem, that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
When you have this really attractive thing over here that says, I am one solution. I can solve every problem in your life. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I will devote myself to that because that will reduce the uncertainty in my life and
Yeah.
make life livable.
Your brain's like, hear me out. Let's just ask Sky Daddy to fix it. And you're like, all right, Sky Daddy, can you fix all my shit? And your brain's like, yes. Talk more to Sky Daddy.
I was reading that the matriarchy Substack.
Yeah.
I showed you the one article. But there was another section where she talked about the like intrusion into human civilization of all the Sky Daddy cults.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I get the appeal. As someone who grew up in an incredibly fundamentally religious household, there are moments where it is hard to not just be like, oh, I wish there was one person that could just solve this for me.
Yeah.
And we see that a lot through cultures through time where like the Mayans and the Aztec civilizations had very advanced water technology for like irrigation and agriculture where they could move water in a way that they wanted to. And then as soon as there's a drought and the drought goes on for too long, they leave it all behind. They stop trying to irrigate their crops. They stop trying to move water
Right,
to
and they
where it's
start
needed most.
sacrificing
And they
humans.
start sacrificing people. They start asking Sky Daddy for help because they were like, we don't know. We're done. Like, there's no more problems that we can. There's no way we can solve these problems. They're too big for us.
Yeah.
So we need someone
I'd say
bigger to fix
that's,
it.
an apt.
So I think,
I'd say that's a good analogy for what JMS was saying here.
Right, it's a good furthering of the discussion that he's having here, which he noticed the pattern, he pointed it out, but biologically, that's why it happens. And so he's talking about how rumors about Trafa had gotten out, and some people believed it was a judgment against our world and decided to get out. And I said they needed a radio-free Earth because we just re-listened to World War Z with the kids because the kids had never heard it. And there's a section where they talk about combating the misinformation. And that they had an entire radio program that they just broadcast around the world where they would find common myths and refute them and also provide
myths that
survival
are springing
techniques.
up
Yeah.
about the zombies.
But to do that, you would have to acknowledge it was happening.
Right.
And what he says is they didn't want to do that.
And his government explicitly forbade him from talking about it.
Yeah. He said they had escaped all of our colonies, carrying the disease everywhere, even here. And Dr. Franklin's like, my God, if you knew about this a year ago, why didn't you come to me? Why stop us from examining the ship? I could fucking help you. And he's like, because I was forbidden. I was ordered to remain silent. And I'm sure Dr. Franklin's thought is like, well, you should have done it anyway. But culturally, that changes.
Right.
The consequences for him culturally might have been so great, he didn't know how to overcome them.
Right.
So you can't just say.
Dr. Franklin has he has a lot of privilege here, saying just defy the rules, because he can defy the rules and get away with it. He's done it multiple times.
Right.
He's charismatic, and his father is like a really influential general.
Yes.
And so he can get preferential treatment. He can be divisive against the establishment and avoid most of the consequences. Lazarin probably doesn't.
No.
He can't just speak up about it.
He said, our leaders were afraid the people would take the disease as a sign from the gods. They were afraid they would be voted out for attacking the public good.
Come on, JMS.
They were afraid. I can't. This was like, it's so hard. They were afraid of everything. But some of us have been working to find the cure without enough money or resources. But they don't want to talk about it as if the very subject makes them dirty. Oh God. He goes, listen, in all the work you've done, is there any indication whether or not the disease is like infectious beyond your own species? And he's like, honestly, I don't fucking know, Stephen. I don't know.
Even in this episode, they don't actually identify the pathogen.
No, they don't. They know the mechanics, how it works.
He identifies the mechanism of how it's shutting down the nervous system.
Yeah.
And figures out a way to
stop that from happening.
I guess reproduce the behavior that should be happening with like neurotransmitter generation, but not mitigating the pathogen itself.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't know. They don't know how it's transmitted. They don't know what it is.
Is it a bacteria? Is it a virus?
No, we don't know.
Yeah.
He goes, may the gods forgive me. I do not know. And then we go to the Marqueb child, baby blue jean. I don't know what it was, like Chanel or something. And this is where, like, I get it. I get what we were doing, but this is definitely a let me pluck the heartstrings moment by introducing a child.
A child that finds their father.
Like, I'm sad when adults die too, so it's okay to just have adults die. But this is I get where they're going here. Yeah. It's like, Papa, Mama sent me to find you. You're very late for food, and she is very upset. She says you have to come home at once, Papa.
Wake up!
And then she goes to shake him, and he just falls over. This is when Delenn pops up. No, poor child. Anyway, the next 24 hours are crucial. This is back to Dr. Franklin and officials. A circle of tables.
I wrote Frankie and COs.
My favorite part is the guard / low-ranking officer that they have included at this table, who is trying the hardest to deliver these lines. Like, God bless this woman. But she's clearly, they pulled her in off the lot and handed her this, and she's reading them from a note card in front of her. Like the next 24 hours are critical if we're going to control the spread of this disease. You know, the incubation period is several weeks to several days, but until then, it's absolutely invisible. So far, like we can't tell. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once symptoms appear, the patient expires inside 24 hours. And they're like, okay, but there's no cure. And he's like, yeah, no, there's no cure. Between the time when the disease shows up and death, you've only got a few hours. And you can't know how a disease works if you can't follow it over time. Mm-hmm. So you have an incredibly small window to be able to figure out what's happening. And they're like, okay, but do you know how far this thing is spread? And he's like, we kind of have to assume everybody has it.
Right.
Like, that's the only way, which he does take blood from every Marqueb on the station.
Yeah.
So theoretically, he would be able to eventually identify what the pathogen is.
Right.
Although he now no longer has access to uncontaminated Marquette blood.
Right.
Yep. He goes, all right, but like, what about everybody else? That's what they ask. And he goes, that's the big question. Is the disease contagious outside their species? And if so, is it transmitted through air, touch, bodily fluids, other means? Is it physically transmitted? If so, we have a chance of containment. If it's airborne, given that all the air in here is recycled.
I have something to say about this.
I also had a question.
You should, if you're recycling the air, you should have some kind of sanitization.
A filtering system, right?
Right?
Otherwise, and I'm going to say it, someone's just going to fart in the vents. I would fart in the vents. And then it's going to go everywhere, right?
Right.
What if you had somebody have a cooking fire in their room?
Right.
You burnt your popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
You microwaved fish. Everyone's going to know that somebody burnt their popcorn and microwaved fish because apparently it goes everywhere. Because if the air is recycled but not filtered, that place must stink.
Right.
Just the accumulate. It's like going into a thrift store. The thrift store smell. That's like the accumulated odors of.
Like aromatics are larger molecules. They're easier to filter out. But like a virus is too small for just filtering.
Well, if somebody came on with the flu, everyone would have the flu if they were coughing in their room.
Right. So you have like the electrostatic filters that the biological particles are attracted to. Like that's how an N95 mask works, is the layers are actually electrostatic.
Yeah.
It's not just a tighter mesh. And so the biological stuff gets attracted to it.
Right.
And so, and there's filtering systems, but like, there's so many species interacting on the station. You need to have some really comprehensive, like, sanitation of the recycled air.
Right.
Like, superheat it or something to destroy anything.
Pump it through the reactor.
Yeah, pump it through the reactor. Pump it through, like, ducting with, like, really bright UV lights.
Yeah.
That blasts anything in there.
I can get not wanting to have a consumable filter, like a filter that you're changing out. But there are other options. There are other options besides, well, we just take it in and then we push it back out again.
Right.
Yes. I also wrote, but not filtered? Like, what do you mean?
I think it has to be filtered. But if it's a virus, viruses can be so small.
But even then, you are going to have outbreaks on the station anytime someone brings something on. Right.
You're massively distributing any pathogen that gets in the air.
It'd be like being on an airplane all the time with a bunch of sick people coming in and out. Because they only quarantine biological material. They don't quarantine people. So people are constantly coming and going. And if you travel sick and you've got like the Centauri yearly flu or something, and then you spend a week in your room literally just like trash because you're so sick, every Centauri on the station is going to get it.
Right.
Okay. That's another one where okay. I don't think that's how that would work, but okay, it's fine. He goes, I want every Markev on the station brought in for a complete examination. And I will remind us that later we find out that's 5,000 Markevs.
Right.
How many med labs do they have?
I don't know that we ever find out.
They've got to have enough med labs to serve 250,000 people. And I think there are free range doctors that are species specific.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Lazarin. And, if you're a more specialized species, it would behoove you to have a specialized doctor.
Right.
Somewhere, even if they have like a private clinic. And they would just have to have sign off from Dr. Franklin for anything serious. So maybe even if they brought in, say, 100 doctors, that's still, 50 patients per doctor?
Mm-hmm.
And this is all over in like a day or two. Anyway, it's crazy. Giving them that large of a population is crazy you didn't have to put 5,000 mark. He got to choose however many mark cabs were on this station.
He made this all up.
I think he wanted to be like, look how serious it is. There's like 5,000 of them that died on this ship. And you're like, it would have been serious were it 500, and it would have felt a lot more reasonable to have 500 dead bodies. It's fine. It's fine. He goes, Doc, they'll say we're implying that they're immoral. That's what Garibaldi says. We have to know how far this thing is spread. More importantly, we have to find someone who's infected before the disease becomes terminal so we can follow its progress. That's what Dr. Franklin says. And they're like, okay, well, like, what kind of symptoms does it have? And he's like, dizziness, sore throat, low blood pressure, swelling of the lymph nodes and surface glands. It's all in my report. Like, just read the papers. And he goes, this disease heads straight for the central nervous system and shuts down neural pathways and basically stops your heart and stops you from breathing.
Yep.
Fun story. That's how you die from dementia, too. Just in case that was on anybody's mind. If you have frontal temporal dementia, like Lewy body dementia or another type of dementia, eventually your brain forgets
how to... It's the part of your brain that regulates your heart and lungs.
Yeah.
Like every other part of your brain gets degraded until it gets to the central part that manages all your internal organs. And then that part of your brain turns off and stops doing its job.
Yep. Anyway, inside 24 hours, paralysis and death. And just Sheridan. He's not doctor. Maybe he's a doctor or something. I don't know. What do you think he has a philosophy in? Fuckboyness? Or a PhD? Got a PhD in
hijinks.
I got a PhD in hijinks and bro dog.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans. He turns to Commander Ivanova and he's like, okay, so I'm issuing an executive order. This is a thing that I'm doing. We're putting Babylon 5 under quarantine. So any incoming ships got to go elsewhere and nobody can leave until we figure out just how far this disease is likely to spread. And she's like, okay, but like, are we going to tell people why they can't leave? And he's like, I mean, we kind of have to. Like, we can't just be like, oh no, every single ship is canceled and no ships will be coming in. This is completely fine and there's nothing happening. It's totally okay. And he goes, okay, what about segregating the Marcabs from the rest of the population? And Dr. Franklin's like, no, if the disease is airborne, that won't solve the problem. Air is recycled. We come back to it again. If the disease is not transmissible to other species, then confining them in one area is just going to get them all infected faster.
Yeah.
Among the Marcabs, for no reason. And then Garibaldi is like, okay, but like when everybody finds out we've got a plague upon us, there's a plague upon the land, people are going to start looking for scapegoats. And if they're all in one place, we can protect them because trust me, it's going to get real ugly real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Can confirm. And then Dr. Franklin's like, no, it's too many variables. I think we already told the story about our son testing. He had to be tested for a variety of reasons, but he had to do this math concepts test where it's basically word problems, and he didn't do well on it. And I know he can because he loves math. Yeah. And I asked him what happened, like what was going on. You want to talk about it? Like, I'm not mad that you didn't do well on this test because it's not that kind of test.
Right. It's an evaluation, not
But I just wanted to know what was going on. Like what led to this lower than what I was expecting result. And he goes, there was too many variables. Meaning he didn't get to ask clarifying questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too many unknowns is what Dr. Franklin says. He goes, I need answers, doctor, and as fast as you can get them to me. That's all. And Dr. Franklin's like, great, thanks. I wasn't gonna, but I guess I will now.
I guess since you're telling me to do it.
I was going to take a lunch. I was going to go on vacay for a couple. Yeah, of course I'm going to fucking get you answers immediately. Jesus. That Sheridan's like, okay, cancel all leave for security personnel. I have a feeling you're going to need them. And Garibaldi's like, aye, aye, Captain. Yes, sir. Then we go back to immediate chaos.
At the
dock. Where everyone's like, no, but I was going to leave. Nobody leaves, but now they all need to leave.
And in the year of our Lord, 2259, everybody still carries hard copies, printouts of their boarding passes.
I do. I get it. I fucking get it.
I always get a physical hard copy
I
of
know.
my boarding pass.
I know. My niece was like, you can just put that in your like Google Wallet or your Apple Wallet or whatever. And I was like, no, I don't trust it. Nope. I gotta have the paper. Got to have the paper. I need to know I have it.
Right.
Because the consequences of showing up and not having it are high.
Right.
If it was just me when I'm traveling, I might be okay just putting it on my phone. But when I have the kids, I can't. Everything's got to go the way I need it to go to keep everybody moving in the direction we need to be moving.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yes, they're all holding their passes and like banging on the windows. Like, no, but I have my paper. Although sometimes we have paper and sometimes we have these clear plastic film and it just kind of changes.
Yeah.
And they're like, no ship will be allowed to depart Babylon 5 without further notice. There's like a sign that's like, Babylon 5 is under quarantine. And it has like a little cross. It's the most alarmist looking sign. It's not like, hey, as a precaution, we're going to quarantine for the next couple of days. Like, they're probably going to be fine, but like, whatever. It's literally like, you might all die. So we've literally locked you in this room. So of course, everybody is in complete meltdown chaos mode. Like, please address all questions to the appropriate station personnel. Is that Ivanova? Is Ivanova fielding all of these calls?
Probably.
There's something going on. Yeah, there's something going on. The something going on is you need to stop fucking calling me about this. Read the sign, goddammit. Please return to your quarters until the quarantine is lifted. That'd be me. I'd be like, TV time, y'all. Like, I'm not going to go stand. It's under quarantine because there might be a disease. So let's all go and stand in a large, compact mass at the dock.
Rubbing on each other.
And scream in each other's faces. Maybe rub some spit on each other. I don't know. I'd be like, I'm out. I'm going to go sit in my room.
Yep.
It's just for some tests. That's all this way. Because now they're bringing the Marcabs in to like get their blood, which they have red blood, like people blood. But later, my favorite part is when we start talking about the
yellow cells and green cells.
And instead of giving them like names, they're like, okay, what about your yellow cells though? Oh no, but what about them? They have green cells. What color are my cells? Do I get a cell color? I was like, is that code? Do they have a more fancy name? But like just to shorthand it, they just call them yellow cells.
Right, and I had expected like Franklin and Lazarin to talk and to use a technical name, and then someone else next to him, and he's like, they're whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're yellow cells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got another dead guy. That's just a little interlude. And then we come back, and it is the Ambassador Fashar of the Marcabs. And he's like, I'm not going to have my people treated like this. They're being poked. They're being prodded. They're being accused. And he's like, Ambassador Fashar, what? And he's like, you guys are spreading hysteria and fear about my people that is unwarranted. And you're disgracing good and decent people by implying they are unclean and immoral. Oh, and Sheridan's like, yeah, no one said that. No one is saying
but that's
that.
the implication.
That's not a thing. He goes, oh, that's absolutely the implication. How do I know this isn't a conspiracy? How do I know that you guys didn't make this up?
Somebody poisoned the water hole.
Oh my God. He's like, for all I know, this disease was planted in our drinking water. Yes. Somebody poisoned the water hole. None of this happened until we began coming here. Oh, you know what? Every time the age old ice cream sales go up and drownings go up. So ice cream causes drowning.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's because people
Just happens during summer.
It just happens during summer. Correlation is not causation, you guys. That's what he should have responded with. He should be like, correlation is not causation. He goes, you will fix this by removing ourselves from your immorality. And they're like, okay, no, wait, don't stop. Don't do that. My question is, where on the ship do they have space for 5,000 people to be in one room? Because they take everyone into an isolation zone away from outsiders. We will stay and pray and repent, and then we will come out and we alone will survive.
I don't know, because they don't say where on, like, red sector, brown, whatever.
No. They're literally just
isolation
a room
zone
with a circular door. They're like, please,
maybe
in here,
it's
sir.
one of the, like, docking bays or, like, storage rooms. Maybe it's the former rooms with boxes, and they
Yeah.
just cleared out the boxes.
Yeah. Maybe they turned the boxes into beds. I don't know. They were just like, in here, sir. Here's where here's our 5,000 person amphitheater that we're not currently using.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's like, if you do that, you'll spread the disease faster. And he's like, I refuse to listen to this. I'm not receiving this right now.
Right.
I'm not listening to your negativity. We just want you to stay away from us. And Garibaldi's like, well, I guess they made the decision about quarantine for you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh my God, for all the wrong reasons, though. And then he gets a call. And I like this. This was a cool moment
Mm-hmm.
because we get a call from Dr. Franklin. And he's like, what is it? He's like, you got to get down to Brown 17. You too, Garibaldi. And he goes, what's up? And then we transition from watching Dr. Franklin on the screen to seeing Dr. Franklin talking to them on another screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're flicking back and forth. So instead of just seeing Dr. Franklin on this probably pre-recorded VHS tape,
Yeah.
playing to Garibaldi and Sheridan, who they have to act like it's all happening live, we actually get like a back and forth. It was a cool that's the first time we've done that, where we like go into the TV and show the person talking from the other side. I was like, oh, it's a good way of having a longer conversation via like uplink, like via
Video call.
Yeah. Which we don't do. They tend to be quite short because they're pre-recorded.
Right.
So it makes more sense to just keep it clipped, and then you don't notice that they're not emotionally reacting to each other.
Yeah.
He's like, I found a dead Pakmara, no signs of violence. And they're like, oh my God, is it the plague? And he's like, I won't know that until I do an autopsy, but I wanted to warn you that it might have spread.
And then we cut to the Markabs filing into the isolation zone.
Inside, hurry. We
get to see
We are
Schnall.
the pure.
Yeah.
If we believe, then the dark angel of Draffa will pass us over. Hurry inside, everyone. But the cute part is we get her little POV, like she's a kid and looking up at everybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that one's a little heart-wrenching because it's the like, kids don't always know what's happening. Even if you explain what's happening, there's a certain level of, they can't always grasp the full immensity of what is happening. And so this child is being asked to go into this room and being told, like, if you believe hard enough, you're going to be fine. And she's literally going in there to watch everyone she knows die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we go back to Dr. Franklin, who's like, I need to do a full autopsy. Before the body goes into rigor mortis. Did they go into rigor mortis?
Did Pakmara go into rigor mortis?
Did Pakmara have lactic acid? Does it cause the muscles to seize after death? Do they go into rigor?
Maybe something close enough.
Technically speaking, everybody would decompose a little bit differently. So it's not like you can expect the Pakmara to have the same mechanisms that move.
Just don't worry about it.
Okay, it's fine. I'm getting too deep into that. I get it. Okay, I'll move on. He's like, we're instituting full biohazard routines, but I still need to go in, and they're all just standing there like, no.
Nobody's following him.
And he's like, what is it? And they're all like, I'm not going
It's
in there.
gross.
I'm not going in there. I don't want to get sick and die. Dude, you guys he walked through
You're
here
doctors,
to get to the room.
Right.
He walked through, and you have biohazard stuff. Like you have masks, you have flood the room with non-oxygen gas. Like put something else in there that it might need to survive. Maybe it needs oxygen to survive or to transfer. So like do something, cool the room down. Do something. Like there's other things you can do besides just walk in there, raw dog it. Strip naked and walk in there and rub yourself on the Pakmara. Like, that's not what you're going to do. So I don't know what you're also mad about.
Right.
I just wrote, wow, MedLab 1 is full of cowards. Because they're literally all bunched up like, no, I'm not going in there.
Yep.
He's like, fucking fine. I'll go in. God damn it. You guys stay out here and monitor the results. And this is when Dr. Lazarin shows up and he's like, I have a better idea. I will go in there because I have the most experience with this disease. And I will perform the autopsy. And Dr. Franklin's like, oh, but if you go in there, and he's like, I know, once it's finished, I'll just stay inside. Odds are he's already contaminated anyway.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, the isolab is hermetically sealed. If I am contaminated, it will not get through the airlock. I will remind everybody, they investigated the Pakmara because he was just lying about on the floor. They had to pick him up, cart him through the station, and then walk him through MedLab 1 and put him in the ISOLab.
Right. So if the Pakmara was contaminated,
It done. We're
there's
done.
residue.
We're done, y'all. It's all over. Okay. So if he was like shedding virus as he was walking through, you're all dead. So calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Maybe figure it out. I don't know. But this is to give Lazarin a honor is dead, but I'll see what I can do moment.
Yeah.
Where he gets to show up at the end and be like, I'll do it. I got this. And he's like, give me a chance to do some good, Stephen. Give me that much. And Dr. Franklin's like, I get it. Okay. Yeah, let's go to work. And then we go back to Ivanova, and she's on the phone with Sheridan. And she's like, yeah, people are beating Markabs up. It's getting really ugly out there. There's some extreme human and alien groups. They say they found a solution. Wipe out the Markabs. Wipe out the problem. I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put that right there. It seems that we've heard that before. How's their quarantine going? And she goes, 4,000 out of the estimated 5,000 resident Markabs have entered the isolation zone. So again, unless they have the ability to shrink into very small Markabs, this is a very large 4,000 people. 4,000 people do not live within 100 miles of us.
Right.
That's a huge number. That's a stadium full of people, a large stadium.
Yeah.
That's a small town. Okay. I'm not over it. Okay. I'm not over it because he made up those numbers and he could have made up anything. He could have made up something believable. And he was like, I don't know, fucking 4,000. How many people can that possibly be? This is so big town, like millions of people live in your town, and you think 4,000 people is nothing. It's
right.
fine. He goes, the rest haven't been found out yet or are in hiding, which is going to be real fun later.
Yeah.
Which puts them in danger of being found. You know, they don't want to make the trip. They might get attacked, but they might get found and get attacked. Shit's gone sideways. Tell Garibaldi to take some people off the search teams and put them on patrols. Are those not the same thing? Patrol and search team.
I think search team is they're trying to find people.
Yeah.
And the patrols are to find violence.
Okay.
And stop it. So the search teams aren't going to be repeatedly going through the same busy areas.
Oh, okay. All
whereas
right.
the patrols are going to be going through the same busy areas.
Okay. So they're going to be more on a route, one might say. All right. Any violence needs to be stopped immediately. Once again, great. I wasn't planning on it, but I'll do that now. Will do. Try to get some sleep, Captain. I was thinking we could give him 10.
I usually just let the punching go on.
I know. I was thinking we could give him 10, 15 minutes, just really blow off some steam and then stop the violence.
It's easier to arrest them when they tire themselves out.
I was going to say, I find it's easier when they're tired a little bit. So like I like to let them go. I'll take the first watch and have someone wake you in 4 hours, CNC out. And so Ivanova leaves. And this is when Delenn comes in because she rings the doorbell. He tells her to come in. And she's like, Captain, I'm really sorry to disturb you. And he's like, oh my God, no, I'm not disturbed at all. Perfectly fine.
You can come by anytime.
Am I going to have to eat dinner for 5 hours again? Because that was a little disturbing. Remember that happened? He goes, I doubt I'd be able to sleep anyway. What can I do for you? And she's like, so I've been monitoring the situation and I have a request.
Let me in.
And he's like, oh, we can't let you go. Like, I can't let you go off the station. And she's like, oh, no, I want to go into the isolation zone. Are there an equivalent number of Minbari on the station?
I doubt it.
If there's 4,000 to 5,000 Markabs, is there a significant Minbari population? Or remember a couple of episodes ago when Sheridan committed a not hate crime? When he shot the guy who was attacking him, so in self-defense.
Yeah.
And we gathered the Minbari on the station to have a conversation with them, and there were like 20.
Yeah.
Is that how many are on the station? Probably. Okay. So are they all not called to do the same thing? Or is Delenn particularly...
I think Delenn in particular, I think as a leader in the religious caste, feels compelled to
because she says Minbari are taught that at such a time the afflicted should be ministered to and comforted. And yet she is the only Minbari who shows up.
No, she's not.
Well, Lanier doesn't show up for them though. Lanier is there because Delenn is there. Yeah. So I wonder if Delenn falls into a Picard situation where she sees her people as better than they actually are.
This has been discussed this has been the plot of multiple episodes. How they lie to protect each other's honor.
Okay, so did I just state the obvious like Sheridan states the obvious? Because it kind of feels like I did. Yeah, where it's like, but you got to give Delenn kudos. She has been hit over the head repeatedly with how shitty her people actually are.
Mm-hmm.
She just went through a thing where her buddy Lanier's cast tried to frame Sheridan and have him disgraced by lying, which she believes the Minbari never do, while knowing that they sometimes do, but also never do. And yet she still keeps showing up for the people she wants them to be.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So I love that for her because she's like, you guys might be shitty, but that doesn't mean that
follow my example.
That doesn't mean that I have to give up on my belief that we are not a shitty people.
Right.
I respect that.
We can be better.
We can be better. And you can't be better if someone doesn't show you how to be better.
Right.
Because what she's asking is to be allowed in because she wants to take care of them.
Yeah.
She wants to be there for them. And he goes, why? They're not your own people. And she goes, I didn't know that similarity was required for the exercise of compassion. I didn't know we had to be the same for me to feel for them. That's a good line.
Yeah.
That's a really good line. She goes, they are afraid. I want to do what we can. We want to do what we can. And he's like, we? And she goes, oh yeah, Lanier. Sheridan fucking knows. He knows. He knows that Lanier is not just in deep respect for Delenn.
Mm-hmm.
No one, only Delenn doesn't see it. Delenn's like, he just really likes taking care of me. He's like a really good aide. And everyone else is like, he is deeply and passionately in love with you. And she's like, what? No, he's in love with my ideals and with what I represent.
Oh, yeah. He would love to deeply respect your ideals, Delenn.
I'd love to meditate on some food together, if you know what I'm talking about. Oh, my God. So he's like, oh, right. Lanier, of course. That's the we you're talking about. And he goes, Delenn, I cannot allow this. And she's like, listen, I'm a grown girl. I know what I'm talking about. I know what the risk is. I'm going to do it. I have to imagine, even if he was like, no, she'd be like, I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm doing it anyway.
I'm doing it.
I'm just informing you.
Oh, you thought this was me asking for permission? No. This was an information session. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. He goes, she says, if the disease is limited only to the Markab, we should do all we can. And if it's not, then we must give comfort because very soon we will require it ourselves. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you're going to be exposed to massive amounts of contamination. And she's like, I know. And he's like, I can't let you back out. And she's like, I know. I think this was Sheridan's State the Obvious episode. They literally just needed him there to say out loud what everybody is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right, okay, I'll let security let you through. And she goes, thank you. And then touches his hand like, boop, boop. just a little, hand touch.
Yeah.
This is the Babylon 5 hand flex moment. And she goes, don't look away, Captain. All life is transitory, a dream. We all come together in the same place at the end of time. And if I don't see you again here, I will see you in a little while in the place where no shadows fall. And then she goes to leave and he stops her. He's like, Delenn, when I do see you again, can you call me John? Oh my God. Oh, it's on,
Things
y'all.
are getting steamy.
It's on, y'all. Oh my God. That was basically sex. That right
That's
there.
foreplay right
That was
there.
foreplay right there. And she's like, okay, John. Yeah. Like, it's so good. It's so good. Oh my God. I'm trying to remember what I was thinking it reminded me of. I remembered at the beginning of reading the quote and I was like, I'll say it at the end. And then now I can't remember. Oh, we were re-listening to Death Cab for Cutie, which our daughter is scandalized. She's like, why are you listening to old people music? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Why do you only listen to auto-tune? I don't know. We all have our preferences. And honestly, we sleep on how good of songwriters Death Cab for Cutie was because we were listening to, I mean, I knew it because I listened to them almost exclusively for a very long time.
Yeah.
But there's a song, I think it's on Plans, called What Sarah Said. And that's the one where they're like, you are a truth I would rather lose than to have never lain beside at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. It is so good. I mean, they have some songs that are okay, but when they get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this is when we come back to somebody beating up a Marcab. I don't think it really matters. We all knew this was coming. The weird extremist human guys are like, if I kill this guy, he can't get me infected. We all knew that was coming, and here it is. The most remarkable part about this is after Garibaldi yells at them to shut up, which is my favorite part. He's like, what are you on their side? He just goes, shut up. Which honestly, sometimes that is so much more gratifying. Like instead of him being like, I'm not on anybody's side, I'm just trying to do the right thing here. He's literally like, shut the fuck up. God damn. Do you know how many times he's had to say that to somebody today?
Right.
He's like, why are you all like this? I'm not responding to that. I'm just going to tell you to shut up, come on and get out. He's like, leave while you still have your ribs intact. Because he gets to slug a couple of them.
Yeah.
And then the poor Marcab guy on the ground holds his hand up for Garibaldi to help him up. And Garibaldi takes his hand. Yeah. That's the moment right there. Because we get the point of view from the hand. And then he pulls him up. And this is when we go back to Delenn and Lanier.
What? No, I have Frankie and the Stims.
Oh, do you? Oh, no. Yeah, we go to Delenn and Lanier, though. There's a moment.
Really
there's just
short.
no dialogue.
Oh,
it's where they're walking in.
I forgot to make a note of that.
And they have their like yoga mats and tote bags full of shit.
Yeah.
And they walk in. And they shut the door behind them very dramatically. And then we come back to Dr. Franklin, who is working real hard.
Stimming.
And taking stims to stay awake so that he can keep working. Which we just had an episode where he was doing this also. And that's the one where Ivanova was like, okay, well, first of all, you're going to go lay down. I already marked you as off. Except this time, everyone's too busy. They're just letting him do this because it needs to get done. And clearly everyone else in MedLab is a fucking moron because they're all over there with their masks shoved up over their face like, I'm not going to get sick.
It's gross.
Gross.
I didn't get into medicine to save lives.
What do you think I'm going to do? Risk myself? Oh, wait. Isn't that the oath I swore? Which we know they have because he's referenced the oath before. But anyway, this is when Lazarin's like, honestly, you should get some sleep. And he's like, I can't. I got too much to do. And everybody else didn't come up to work today because they're all getting fired.
They're all called in sick.
And he's like, that is your third stim tonight? That's your third stim. And he's like, too much isn't good for you. And he's like, listen, if we don't figure this out, it's not really going to matter, is it? Like if I die of a disease, it's not going to matter that I took 4 stims today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Lazarin is like, okay, well, like any more news on the Pakmara tests? And he's like, no, but security reports finding the bodies of 12 of your people. So they're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
The plague is spreading fast. But the violence, he says, is under control. Everyone's looking for someone to blame. Same old story. Black Death, AIDS, Chalmers syndrome, which, as you mentioned, is his standard formula. 2 real, 1 made up. Millions die, and no one remembers the lessons we've learned. And he's like, oh, okay, what's the Black Death? Like, that's a cool name. What's that? And he goes, oh, you know, it hit Earth about in the middle of the 14th century. And before it was finished, it wiped out 3/4 of the European population. And I just put, nope. It's not like he could Google everything, you know, and
That's
you can
true.
he was cranking out episodes because he had to write each one of these himself. So it's not like he had time to go and fact check these things. It would have been on the editor to fact check it. And they just didn't because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he didn't get it right. The point is a lot of people died.
Right.
And they said the same things, too, that it was a punishment from God. And then he goes on to talk about how they were killing cats, which I just talked about with the kids the other day, about why cats are associated with witches.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be the devil's familiar, and they were killing them by the millions. But the cats were the ones that were actually controlling the plague because they would kill the rats.
Right.
So all they were doing was helping the plague spread even faster. And Lazarin's like, oh yeah, this was another banger. You ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
This does seem to be the rule, doesn't it? Analyze the problem, choose whichever strategy makes the least sense, and then do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, whoa. And Dr. Franklin's like, whoa, what was that? And he goes, oh, nothing. I'm dizzy. And he goes, oh no, well, that seems to confirm it. I felt my throat was sore a few minutes ago.
And he didn't mention it?
Well, it just happened. He literally swallowed 2
talking.
seconds ago, and he was like, oh shit. It is acute, which means it pops up immediately. And he goes, Stephen, you wanted to examine someone in the early stages of the infection? I think you should run some tests. Quickly. And then we go back, and it's Delenn and the Markhab child.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, hey, I can't find my mom. And Delenn goes, oh, that's okay. No, we're going to find her. And then she just goes,
Lanier, find this child's
I know.
mother.
And I love how set this is, like how much they're on a set, because she's behind this little partition, and she just turns and goes, Lanier, and he goes, Delenn, from the back. walks around whatever other partition is hiding the back of the set. And it's fine. It's just nobody's mic'd really, and they didn't really redo it, so you can just hear how echoey the scene is. Yeah. And she goes, this little girl's been separated from her mother. Can you please find her? And he goes, okay, how? And she goes, Faith manages. And he goes, okay, well, what's your mother's name? And she goes,
which is like when someone says, how do you do this? And you say, you'll figure it out. Faith manages.
Like, okay, well, what's her name? Mama. And he just looks at Delenn, and Delenn goes, Faith manages.
He says Faith manages.
They had to make all these prosthetics only to never use them again.
Yeah.
Because everybody in the scene except Delenn and Lanier are never coming back as Markabs.
Right.
Including the child-size one.
Right.
It's crazy. And then this is when we go back to Dr. Franklin and Lazarin, and they are teching the tech, except it's the least techie tech that has ever teched.
The bio.
Yeah. Okay, what about my yellow blood cell count? Well, okay, what? Because we talk about yellow blood cell count, and then later we just talk about yellow cells.
Yeah.
So, like, is everything inside his body yellow, and we just named it all yellow?
No, I think they're just saying, like, there's a technical name for it, but in this case, they've identified, okay, the problematic cells in the Markhab body are yellow. The problematic cells in the Pakmara body are green. So we'll just talk about yellow cells and green cells as shorthand, so we don't have to say the hard to pronounce thing.
Well, there might be a Markhab word for it.
That's what I was thinking.
And a Pakmara word for it. And rather than create a new word, which is also equally complex but doesn't directly translate into Pakmara, you just call it a color. Yeah. I mean, I get that. And so he's like, okay, so the yellow blood cell count is dropping. Neural transmission efficiency is dropping. See if they're dropping at the same rate. And he turns to another tech, like another aide, maybe a doctor, and is like, maybe the drop in cells causes neural pathways to degrade. Like, maybe that's what's happening. Can you test that? And she goes, give me 10 minutes. And he goes, no, you've got 5. And Lazarin's like, I've got a tingling in my fingers, which we just watched Lord of the Rings. And there's the scene where Legolas is drinking with Gimli.
Yeah.
And he's like, I feel a tingling in my fingertips. I think it's beginning to affect me.
And then we look at Gimli, and Gimli passes out.
Yes.
He's like, I knew you couldn't handle your vicar.
And then passes out. And then he goes, there's an odd sense of euphoria. And he's like, okay, check the brainstem for unusual activity. And they're like, yes, sir. Because now he's surrounded by people. He must have threatened everybody in. And this is really sad. Lazarin is like, I was trying to remember how we met. It feels like ages ago. Oh, yeah. I was back home and you were there on the layover because you were hitchhiking starships. You were very funny.
You were a very silly fellow.
And then he's like, let me go ahead and hit you with a low blow here. Everything to you is a problem to be solved, a test to be passed. But you know, Stephen, sometimes the test is not to find the answer. It's to see how you react when you realize there is no answer.
And that reminds me of the Kobayashi Maru.
Yes, the unsolvable, the no-win scenario.
Yeah.
Dr. Franklin does not believe in no-win scenarios.
Right.
And when he's presented with one, he will dip so fast. It's like Wile E. Coyote. Just poof. Oh, wait, we're not there yet. He goes, Doctor, we got the results from the Pakmara autopsy. Why can I not say that word? It's like violence. Just stuck. He goes, it's the plague. It jumped species. And he's like, okay, Mitch, Sabi, and Sims. Did you make those up on the spot? Or were they just like, here's 3 names. Use as needed.
Yeah.
Go down to MedLab 2. Take apart the Pakmara inch by inch. There's a reason why they fell sick before humans or Narns. The similarity is how we crack this thing. Why humans and Narns? Maybe humans and Narns.
They're probably the largest populations.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Do you understand what this means? It means we have, that's what they're like, do you understand what this means? He's like, yeah, it means we have more information than we had 5 fucking minutes ago. And to beat this, we need as much information as we can get. I want a biogenetic comparison of these 2 groups in an hour, or you'll have something worse than the plague to worry about. They know Dr. Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
They work with him. They know
they know what he can do.
They know he has a medically commissioned cot in his room for emergencies. They're like, oh shit. I also would rush through this. He's like, move, I want answers. He's channeling his dad. This was a good moment to like, okay, he knows how to give orders when it's time to give orders. And then we go back to the Marcab kid. Have we found Mama yet? And this is Delen's, like a backstory moment for Delen about her traveling to, it's a little Jesus-y.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because there's the story where Jesus disappears and they find him at the temple and he's like talking to the rabbis at the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happens to her, where she gets lost visiting the city as a child. And she ends up going to a temple and she's like, well, if I just wait here, my parents will find me. And she wakes up, she falls asleep because it was cold and lonely. And she wakes up and there's a guy silhouetted in light. And he's like, I will not allow harm to come to my little ones here in my great house. So she literally
like Valen shows up.
Saw God? Question mark? Or saw some saint or whatever they worship. We don't know.
Yeah.
We know they have a religious cast, but we don't know if it's like God or prophets or like past leaders. Like we don't know what they worship.
Right.
We know Valen is in there, but Valen was a person that they expect to return. So Jesus coded. But they don't necessarily believe, we don't know if they believe he's divine or if they just believe he was an incredible person.
Right.
And because they think all souls are cyclical, then eventually Valen will pop back up again.
Right.
Or he'll pop back up again only to beep. It's fine. And this is when Lanier comes back with Chanel's mom. And the mom's like, oh, I was worried about you. And Lanier's like, faith manages. And then the kid's like, whoa. They're like, oh no, she's dizzy. Oh, it's so sad. And then we go back and it's Dr. Franklin and he's matching things up. And the computer's like, nope.
No match.
Nope. Try again.
No match.
Nope. Try again. Incorrect key. And then finally, he's cross-analyzing the Marcab yellow blood cells and the Pakmara green cells. And it's thinking, stand by. And
For quite a while.
For a while, because this is when Lazarin's like, hey, Steven, and he's like, oh, save your strength, Lazarin. Just shh for a minute. Shh. And he goes, oh, the yellow cells could be, and he's like, could be what? And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, old friend. I don't think I can stay any longer. That's a lot of words that you could have used to finish your thought about the yellow cells.
Maybe he lost the thread.
He's like, fuck it, never mind. You know what? You're gonna figure this out.
Faith manages.
Faith manages. He goes, will you give my love to and then it starts going weep, 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 weep. It's because he's dead.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Franklin's like, rah, and he hulks out on some of the lab
Throw some
equipment.
stuff around.
This is the danger of stims, I guess. And then finally the computer's like, oh, hey, I got something. And he's like, oh my God, show me. And it's a cross analysis between the cells has found something.
Yeah.
And we come back and it's Dr. Franklin explaining to Sheridan what is going on, which I appreciate, but also like time is of the essence.
Right.
Why don't you go administer those doses and then come back and be like, here's what I just did.
Right.
How about we do that
Mm.
instead of being like, all right, buckle up.
But the viewer,
I have a 30-minute TED talk on what I've figured out. Guys,
right? Or explain it to Sheridan while you're walking down to the isolation center.
Walk and talk, like I'll do to you sometimes when you're deep in an explanation, and I'm waiting to be able to leave to go do what I need to do, and finally I'm like, walk and talk, follow me and talk at the same time.
Yeah,
could have done that, but instead he's like, here's the PowerPoint presentation that I prepared for you.
Why did you spend time preparing?
Everyone, please stand here so you can see the screen. Okay, so basically what's happening is he thought it was breaking down the neurotransmitters. It's actually breaking down the hormones that transmit.
The cells that produce the neurotransmitters.
But it's not just those. It's breaking down like the neurotransmitters themselves. So like breaking down dopamine.
Oh, I thought it was killing the yellow and green cells, which was
no, that's what he thought it was doing.
Depleting the neurotransmitters.
That's what he thought it was doing. He's like, I assumed the disease was attacking the nerve itself, but there was never any damage.
It's not attacking the nerve. It's attacking the yellow and green cells that produce the neurotransmitters.
It was neutralizing the chemicals in the synaptic gap. In other words, an order comes from the brain to the gap, but the chemicals that are supposed to relay the information to the next neuron don't work anymore.
Right. And the solution is this dose that stimulates yellow and green cell production and produces stronger cells that are capable of withstanding the disease.
Okay. So he's using cells for like neurotransmitter, like the
cells that produce the neurotransmitters, which is why it's not the same as humans, because we don't have dedicated cells in our blood that produce neurotransmitters.
Right. Anyway, Ivanov was like, have you developed a profile of who's prone to being infected? And he's like, yeah, pretty much only races that rely on this specific method of like conveying brain information. He's like, in the Markabs, the chemicals produced by the yellow cells. In Pakmara, it's green cells.
Yep.
And those are the ones targeted by the disease. And I just wrote, do they have a more technical term than yellow and green? But we already talked about that.
Yeah.
He's like, fortunately, our bodies don't work that way, so we're going to be fine. But the disease could mutate into something that could kill us all. And they're like, right now. Later. That's also in the PowerPoint presentation. He's like, and in the next...
We could all die from this.
And in my next hour...
But don't worry.
In my next hour, I will explain what a mutated virus could look like and what it would do to us and what the symptoms... Can we just go give them the medicine? He's like, so what do? We can't destroy the disease, but we can stimulate the production, and over time they'll get stronger just on their own and whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, but you haven't tested it, and he's like, no, there wasn't time. I did prepare 500 doses.
We have to hurry. Okay, hurry.
In my next hour, I will explain how time is of the essence and how. And they're trying to call to the other side of the door. They're like, any reply to our message? And they're like, no. And so they open it up, and it's just Lanier and Delenn standing among a sea of dead bodies.
So many extras.
This is a dramatic moment. It's fine. But like, how long were they going to stand there?
Delenn and Lanier?
Delenn and Lanier could have knocked on the door and been like, hey guys, everybody's dead. Because they were sending messages in there and no one was responding.
Right.
Well, they could be in shock. I would be in shock. I would, because they were literally just a few minutes ago, everyone was walking around chanting and doing shit. And now they're like, anyway, so they all died. And they go, Lanier, is anyone there at all? Anyone? And he's like, no. Yeah, no. No one.
Nah, bro.
And this is when Delenn is like, John. And she hugs him and starts crying because she's a compassionate person. And she just had to be in here and literally watch everybody die. And this is when they come back and they're like, oh, you need to be congratulated for finding a way to stop this plague from spreading. And he's like, actually, it was Dr. Franklin. Like, it wasn't me. Like, okay, well, we dodged a bullet this time, but what happens next time? What happens? And Delenn's like, what happens is we honor the memory of those who are no longer with us by using what we learned to save others. There's so much that I feel like I could say, and I'm not going to say it, but I think we're all thinking it. To exercise faith and patience and charity, and to reach out to those who are afraid. And if we can do that, then their passing will have meaning, and we can actually grow from it. And Sheridan's like, Yeah. Do you know how many plagues humans have had? And we just keep having them over and over again. And we keep going through the same steps every single time. He just goes, yeah, I hope so. And this is when we find out that medical ships have been dispatched to the Markab homeworld and they've confirmed the death toll. This is our standard ISN reporter.
Yeah.
The
Dr. Franklin's sitting at the bar watching the news.
Yeah, the entire planetary population has been wiped out by the plague. Over 2 billion dead, in addition to another 2 or 3 million on other colonies and outposts. And although it is expected that some Markabs may have survived on isolated colonies, for all intents and purposes, the Markab civilization has been destroyed. What an interesting way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Destroyed implies like an action occurred and then the result was destruction, as opposed to they have all passed or they have all died or they have been wiped out by disease.
Right. Or it's just gone.
Yeah. Destroyed is so active.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it implies an actor.
Yeah. We've also received reports of widespread destruction from fires tearing through the dead cities. Probably from all the ritual candles, but it's fine.
The people praying.
This is when the bartender is like, hey, what do you call 2 billion dead Markabs? Planetary redecorating.
Yuck, 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 yuck.
And then he turns the news off and he's like, the news gives me the creeps. And he goes, I heard it was the Vorlons that poisoned that place. You know how they are. And Dr. Franklin's like, fuck you.
You can
And he
just see
gets
Dr.
up and
Franklin
leaves.
holding himself back from punching the bartender.
He's just like, out. I'm out. I gotta go. And he just gets up and leaves. And that's the end of the episode.
Yep.
Wow. This was a good return moment.
Yay!
You know what would be great as a comeback after a whole month of being off, and we had a really good break. It was really nice. I mean, personally speaking, not globally speaking, but that's again an entirely other thing. I'm glad to be back. Are you glad to be back?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? We're almost done with season 2. This was episode 18. It's interesting that they included this because we've been all systems go on the shadow plot.
Right.
We finally got the big revelation. We finally found out who the shadows are.
Do you think the shadows reintroduced the Markab disease?
I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know that we come back to it. That's what I'm saying is this is kind of a one-off.
Yeah.
It's a standalone effectively where I don't think we come back to it. I don't remember coming back to it. And it is dramatic. The only thing it advances is character development for like Dr. Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Dr. Franklin's further spiral on him not being good enough to catch things.
And Delenn and Sheridan's relationship.
And Delenn and Sheridan's relationship. Yeah. And that's pretty much it in terms of overplot. Like, because Londo's not in it. Chakar's not in it. It's very micro.
Yeah.
It's just the Markabs who, for obvious reasons, are now finished in terms of character development. And Dr. Franklin, Sheridan, and then Ivanova is there to like do shit. And Garibaldi's there to do shit.
Yeah.
But
just doing their jobs.
And telling Keffer to stop not doing his job. Or extra doing his job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. So it's interesting to include this at the end of a season when otherwise everything has been very go, 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 go.
Right.
And this is go, but also not go because it doesn't push us forward. But it's a very dramatic episode.
Yeah.
What a choice. It would be like, oh, wait, they did that. I was going to say it'd be like if Star Trek, I don't know, blew up the Klingon moon. They did that. Or the Romulan star going supernova. Oh, wait, they did that. Like, but they didn't die. They didn't die off. I mean, they had dramatic changes to their civilizations, but they didn't all die.
Right.
To have a established race just
wiped
die.
out.
And for him to find the cure right after.
Right.
He couldn't have saved his friend, theoretically speaking, because damage had already been done.
Mm-hmm.
But he could have saved somebody.
Right.
He saved the Pak Mara.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other races because the Pak'mara and the Markab are not the only ones.
Right.
So he saved anyone later.
Right. He has a treatment.
And this could be a whole class of viruses that we don't know about yet that are just not as transmissible or not as fatal. And so people could be dying of them, but we don't know.
That humans could be dying.
Not humans, because we don't have the mechanism that it messes with.
Right.
But there could be other races that, like, seasonally they go swimming and some of them get sick and they all die and they don't know why. And now we know.
Yeah.
Like polio. Polio used to be like a seasonal thing, like the flu. And for the most part, polio was like diarrhea. It was not. What we remember is long polio, like the polio that had lasting consequences.
Yeah, people in iron lungs and people like I worked with a guy who had leg braces because he had polio as a kid.
Right. And so for a lot of people, it didn't turn out that way. It was just like a one-off thing. You barely noticed you had it. And it could come back. It's like the chicken pox. Like you and I will have problems later in life.
Shingles.
Because of the chicken pox virus never goes away. That's the same thing with polio, but the odds of it becoming something more dramatic were lower if you didn't have a big reaction to it the first time. Anyway, I learned a lot about that because I like FDR. And FDR had polio. And he actually opened a spa for people with polio because there was a huge stigma about people with polio. Shockingly.
Yeah.
Where if you were sick or if you had some sort of lasting physical change from polio, you were often stigmatized.
Right.
Because people didn't want it to happen to them. And they didn't understand the mechanism of how it worked.
Stigma around a disease so people don't talk about it?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He did Black Death and AIDS. He really skipped a lot he could have listed for a while and then come to his made up one.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Oh, anyway, I think we said our piece about that. I don't think there's a lot more to say about that particular episode because there's nothing to tie it into anything bigger.
Right.
Except the sex scene between Delenn and
the foreplay.
the foreplay, which was a big moment. And that's pretty much the biggest moment in all of it. So I guess we'll leave it here. We would live for the one. We live for the one.
We would die for the one.
Until next time, friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Medical ships dispatched to the Markab homeworld have confirmed the death toll. The entire planetary population has been wiped out by the plague. Over 2 billion dead, in addition to another 2 or 3 million on other colonies and outposts. Although it is expected that some Markabs may have survived on isolated colonies, for all intents and purposes, the Markab civilization has been destroyed. We've also received reports of widespread destruction from fires tearing through the dead cities.